3, 2, 1.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome, what for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no challenge for champions and chain no fear. Yeah, the champions here.
All right. What an amazing day. What an amazing day it is to be alive. It is right now Tuesday, December 22nd. You're watching Paleocrat Diaries. I'm your host, Jeremiah Bannister. We have an awesome show for you. We have an amazing show for you. We're going to be talking about, of course, a bunch of funny stories. I got some really cool videos, and I got some really cool emails with pictures from different people who have listened to the show, and I want to share some of those today. I was thinking, to be honest, about at least for 5 seconds. I was thinking about talking for a moment about these people yesterday who came out of the woodworks, right? They apparently left the old funny farm and made their way onto the grass in the interwebs and decided to come after me, man. And not just me, they came after my kids, and I thought, you know what? No. I'm not going to deal with these people. I'm not going to deal with them. You come after my kids, you're going to rile me up. You're going to rile up Papa Bear. That's just the way that goes. You come after my kids, you start busting on the way they talk, you know, you're going to get pimp smacked. That's just the way that's going to be. And I did lay the pimp smack down. Wham! Wham, 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 wham! Over and over and over again. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's low-hanging fruitcake. But the thing is I decided, you know what? I don't want to give these clowns any more visibility than they already have. We live in a day and age where they have a whole bunch of it. They have a whole bunch of visibility. You know what I'm saying? And they go on and they say what they want to say. And it was kind of weird. I will say this, right? There was this guy. He's got this show. And in fact, I've only met this guy one time in my whole life. That's it. And he came at me yesterday talking about the Christmas commercial that we made for when the Gretsch stole Christmas, which is happening. Oh, I don't know. Tomorrow from 4 to 7, we're going to show that commercial toward the beginning of the show as well as the middle of the program. We're going to show that commercial. I may even tuck in the smaller one. Might even tuck in the smaller one. We'll find out about that. But he shares it, which, by the way, thank you for sharing it. It added to the views immensely. I'm really grateful. These people, it's like this thing where you got your haters. They think if they share it and a bunch of people pile on, that's a bad thing. And I'm like, you guys don't get algorithms, man. You don't know how algorithms work. But shared it and was talking, saying this guy used to be a left winger. And I'm thinking, dude, you never knew me. Like ever. I think it was about 1 year of my life. Admittedly, you can go on and see it. You can go and I kept it on Facebook. You can go on. People can see the kind of stuff that I was talking about. And in fairness, in honesty, in fact, it had more to do with my atheism than anything else. It was the idea that when you abandon God, and you no longer believe in him, and you believe that all the things that you believed before, you only believed because of fairy tales and myths and all of that, it really has ramifications, not just for your belief system, right? Not just for your religious beliefs, but eventually also for many of your beliefs regarding the political economy, culture, et cetera, et cetera. And that lasted for a very brief period of time. But I thought, and I said, the kind of stuff that people say when they don't know you, right? And I'm assuming you guys all know. And ladies, I got it. Hey, look, by the way, thank you, ladies, for tuning in. We're always grateful for the ladies. There's a whole bunch of them that tune in. They're amazingly brilliant and obviously very attractive because they're tuned in. We, as I said before, we have scientific evidence of this. We've done studies on this, universal studies, and it's just a proven fact. It's a proven fact. But, where people will say things and they talk as if they know you. But the truth is they really don't. And maybe some of you are like me. I come across in a way, I do a show and I get really intense about things. And if you've seen me in a public setting, I'm working the room. I'm doing my thing. And I do pretty well at talking to people. But the truth is, I'm a relatively reclusive guy. You know, I'm almost as reclusive as I am huggable and lovable. No, no, I'm definitely more huggable, lovable. But I am a little bit reclusive, and I like to keep to myself. I keep my friends list pretty tight. You know, I used to even have my Facebook and social media stuff set to private. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, why do I need some rando who I don't know coming in and commenting all the time, you know? And I've opened up about that, where because I do the show, there's more randos. You know, that happens. So, you know, you get more randos when you do this. But the truth is, I like to keep my friends list tight. And as some of my friends can tell you, right? As some of my friends can tell you from experience, you know, I don't always open up from the heart with everybody. You know, I like to do that on the show. And in some ways, I'm alone doing this. I know that I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone because I'm looking down and I'm seeing this. I'm seeing the comment section just boom, 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 boom. And by the way, if you're watching this, thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful that you're watching this. And I hope that you comment. I hope you like. I hope you subscribe. If you see the little subscribe button or the little like button, make sure you click that. And if you enjoy the show a lot, if you enjoy the show even 1/1000th of as much as I do, then you're head over heels about it. If you're head over heels about it, share it with your friends. Let them know. It's literally, it's the best way that you can help me. All right, more than money, money, whatever. Obviously, that's part of it. But at the same time, at the core of it, it's just you being here. It's you being here. It's you being part of the conversation. And so, in fact, speaking of being part of the conversation, we're just going to go right away. We're going to go right away into this. Let's see here. Okay. So we do this, of course, at the beginning of every single show. We let you know that if you're watching, we kind of know it. If you comment, we definitely know you're watching. And so, you know, that it's a cool thing. But see, look, you see this right here? You're going to see different symbols on to the left. You're going to see, let's see if we can zoom in a little eatsy bit, just a little bit. You're going to see right up there on the left, you see the YouTube symbol. And below that, you see the Facebook symbol. And below that, a bunch more YouTube symbols. Sometimes you'll see Periscope. Sometimes you'll see DLive. So you'll see different ones, Twitch. You'll see different ones. But what this is, it is the master comment section. It is. It's the master comment section. We got comments coming in from all over. And you'll see with all these Facebook symbols, by the way, this is actually probably, we have a lot of people praying and supporting our show. Right here, praying for and supporting our show. But you'll see, like, for example, CF says, howdy, Pack. Howdy to you, buddy. Howdy to you, man. Super pumped to see you every single day. I love it, man. I love it. You're a regular. You're a regular. So, you know, but you see he's from YouTube. Now, other ones you see down below, I don't know what YouTube channel he's watching. There's like 7 different YouTube channels. There's like 6 different Facebook channels. There's Facebook pages. There's all these different channels all over the place. I don't know which one you're on, but I know what platform you're using. So you go down further. Let's see. Bethany, right? Oh, Paula says, whiskey time. Well, you know what? It is maybe whiskey time. It's also, and you know, I might spritz my coffee maybe. It's 11 o'clock. I might have to wait till noon to do this. I'm going to maybe spritz my coffee. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for that. Look at this. I got to release the Kraken, guys. I got to release the Kraken. Oh, boy. And at 94 proof, dang, son. Yeah, I'm going to have to, and yeah, we're going to have to like spritz. Not, you don't want to see me all sloshed and, you know, falling over in my chair. And maybe you would. I don't know. You guys, what do you say? We'll save that for an unlisted edition, man. We'll save that for maybe Christmas Eve. Something like that. After I go to the Christmas Eve Mass, because we go to the vigil. And so we're going to go there. And maybe after that, maybe we'll do some kind of a special 1 hour happy fun time. You know, the happy fun ones, though, you know, we always end up eating food like we did with the Thanksgiving edition. We did it with the All Hallows Eve edition. It was a ton of fun. We end up eating candy and pie and all this sort of stuff. And it's fun. We talk about crazy stories. But I think on both of those, I think that there were like emotional parts, too. I may have actually cried. I think I did. I don't know. Man, you have to find out. Let me know. And you can do that by going to paleocratdiaries.com. You can find out. All right. So, yes, whiskey time, Paula. Whiskey time. I'm going to do my best. Oh, my gosh. I just realized I don't have a straw for my big, huge jug of water. I need one of those wineskins, man. I need a wineskin, or a ram horn or something for that water. Gotta have it. But yeah, whiskey time. I know what you're talking about, Paula. I know what you're talking about. The old pipes here. It's true. So Bethany says, "Holy majoli." I know you say don't worry, but I was starting to worry. The timing, never. Sometimes you just sleep in on accident. And that happened. It happened last night. And the kids are home, so nobody's awake at, 6 in the morning. And so the coffee's not made in the morning, and everybody's just kind of around, We're not waking up for school or anything because they're on Christmas break right now. And so, I remember this morning I'm laying down. I'm having a wonderful night's sleep, by the way. I mean, just it's totally uninterrupted. And I struggle with that. But last night, man, oh boy, it felt so good. I crashed. I turned the Wi-Fi off. And I sat there and I just laid down and just boom, that quick, just fell asleep. And it was so great. And the next thing I remember after a wonderful night's sleep filled with amazing dreams, all of a sudden, I hear my wife go, "Oh my gosh, we slept in." Oh, thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Oh, you just told thousands of people that our son was naked at the top of the stairs. Yeah. Yeah. I guess little Louie's upstairs. He's standing there. They said they couldn't bring him down because he's buck naked. So you couldn't bring that little dude down. He must be getting diaper change or something. Sometimes maybe he just wants to pull his pants off. Sometimes he just wants to pull his pants off and run around. Oh my gosh. But no, don't worry. What did I do one time? The show couldn't start until noon. Remember that? I think it couldn't start till noon, and I didn't end till 3. I said, "No, I'm sticking with it, guys. I'm sticking with it. We're not messing around. We ain't messing around here. We take this real seriously, man. It's what we do." Let's see here. Welsh says AOC needs to be sent to the real funny farm. Look, I agree with you, Welsh. I agree with you. But it's kind of a weird thing because it's like her and Bernie Sanders both, right? Total loon birds, way out there wackos. At the same time, there are occasions, for example, where the Congress gets 130 to 150,000 this year, and they don't take away any of that money, but they tell us that we got to do the lockdown stuff, and they encourage us to stay home, and they fight over whether or not we could get $600. and you have people, very few, who stand up and say, "That's absurd. That is totally offensive." And those few people happen to sometimes, and more often than not, actually include folks like AOC and Bernie Sanders. And so it's same thing with war, too, by the way. Same thing with war. A lot of the time, where you talk about the military-industrial complex and Team America World Police, sometimes you have those left-wing populists that do that. So I think every once in a while, right? And maybe when we put her into the funny farm, maybe when we give her that special coat where she can hug herself, and it's got the little locks on the back, the little lockets that, once she's in there in that Nerf room, every once in a while we can we'll put, a little message under there and say, "Look, tell us what you think about this." Because sometimes, man. All right, so Miss Hahn, Mrs. Hahn, hi, how are you? Very happy to see you. Can't wait for tomorrow, right? What do you think? Is it going to be a blast or what? I know you're going to say yes. Because the truth is, you don't need a crystal ball to know that tomorrow is going to be awesome. It is going to be amazing. It's going to be tons of fun. You're going to see a commercial about that very soon. But she says they, talking about the trolls, they don't deserve the attention. It's totally true. They don't deserve the attention. And it's one of those things, where there's a part of people, I would say a part of me, right? If you identify it, you identify with it. If you don't, you don't. But there's a part of me that will probably always fight with that, that if a bunch of the haters come out and the trollsters come out and stuff, that it riles me up. I get pumped up. In fact, I kind of enjoy the sword fighting. I'm a swashbuckler. So I like doing that. I like the game. But at the same time, At the same time, I'm like, dude, you come dogging my kids, right? You come making fun of their voices. You come saying that maybe I shouldn't have any children. I'm like, you're, I don't know, 6 kids too late on that one. And in all likelihood, to be quite frank, the person's probably, contracepting the daylights out of their future. I mean, I can't imagine, these people, it's a common trait. It's a tragic but common trait that all too often when people talk that way about other people's children and everything else, a lot of times in saying, you don't deserve children and all that, I would wonder, do you have kids? And I hope, even for the wicked, even for the wicked, I hope they do. I don't abort them out of existence. Don't contracept them out of existence. But at the same time, you're kind of late to this game. Papa Bear's been doing some deeds and believing in that. We're taking care of some business, believe me. So you're late to that. It's just the way it is. Yeah, Benjamin says, pimp smack. Yeah, I did, brother. I did. Is the back of my hand red? Is the back of it red? Oh, man, their digital face, dude, has the imprint of my ring right on it. Just bwam! Bwam, bwam, bwam! Walk away. Toodaloo, baby. Toodaloo to them. Yeah, pimp smacking. Left and right. Wing says, Merry Christmas. I cannot say this yet. We have a tradition here. I don't say Merry Christmas until Christmas Eve. I don't do it. In fact, it's the greeting that we do at Christmas Eve when we go to the Christmas vigil. It's part of that because that's when you put baby Jesus in the manger. We don't even have baby Jesus in the manger yet. All right, it's one of those things. We're not jumping the gun, but I know what you mean and I accept it. In fairness, I have said Merry Christmas. I've said Merry Christmas to people if they say it to me. If I'm on the phone and someone goes, at the end, especially if it's like the VA or some kind of a business that for the last 20 years has been saying happy holidays and making me grind my teeth down to the nerve endings, making me flip out and pull my hair out screaming. If that's the case, then I will say Merry Christmas to you. And thank you, by the way. Wang. I really appreciate it. Phil Morgan says hello from Denver, Colorado. Hello to you. By the way, I love Denver. Been there multiple times throughout my life. I've been in a, oh man, what would you call that? A camper or whatever. It's one of those where it's like the car and it's got the back connected to it, so it's not, it's not like a bus, okay? But and you can sleep right above where the person's driving, that sort of thing. So we were in one of those. And is that a camper or an RV? You let me know. Is it the same thing? Am I making a big difference? Splitting the hair of a bald man. What am I doing? But I'm driving one of those buggers. It's at night. We're on a mountain, and we're going around. And bro, there were no rails. And it was dark, and it was snowy, and it was like all slippery. And I'm sitting there sweating, dude. I'm thinking about life and death. I said, why wouldn't they put rails over here? What is wrong with you guys? Oh man, it's like Thunderdome over there. I said, dude, this is pretty creepy, pretty messed up, man. Bethany says, hello to the pack. Oh, yeah, man. Hello to you. Oh, yes, hello to the pack. And our glorious leader. Oh, come on now. Now I'm blushing. You got me blushing, Bethany. I'm all sorts of red right now. Yes. To the glorious leader. And, of course, the wolf, my mega buff right arm, the American flag, and a heart. Yeah, by the way, I got into this spat yesterday. It was all this low-hanging fruit crap, right? Same gaggle of weirdos, same gaggle of goons, and they were saying that my kids were sitting on an American flag and that was desecrating an American flag. Of course, these people, they don't really care. But the thing is I said, it's a blanket, and the person who came at me said, well, I couldn't tell. It was such a terrible quality video. And I wrote back and I said, no, you're definitely Mr. Magoo on this. You got to be. So I took a screenshot. Super crystal clear. Dude, I've got a Canon. Which one is it, man? Anyway, it's a wonderful Canon. It's not the newest one. It's the one just before that. It was in 1080p, bro. Something like that. And so, give me a break, dude. And I shared it, but he apologized. And I wasn't mean to him, unless you want to say, if I'm saying, you're Mr. Magooing it up. And if you don't know what Mr. Magoo is, I'm very sorry for you. You need to know. Mr. Magoo, we need to start using that phrase for the people that struggle. The people that can't see the obvious. Dude, they're magooing it up. They're magooing it up. Kind of like the TikTokers are TikToking it up. You know what I'm saying? All righty. Yeah, James Marone says, Kyrie eleison, Christi eleison. Kyrie eleison, brother. Kyrie eleison. Buenos dias from Holy Faith Media, dude. People don't know this. He's a Canadian. And, you know, I don't know if I've ever said this to a man, but he says a boot. He says a boot. I'm like, bro, come on, man. It's not a boot. I want to say, well, what is it a boot? And see if he says a boot, you know, a boot. And see, how would he pronounce that? He doesn't say it. I'm being a little bit facetious a little bit. He doesn't technically say a boot. Like, really, it's not as strong as my friends from Prince Edward Island. I mean, that's like another level. You know, that's another level. They're going to go to the car to go over to Mark's house, but they got to get a candy bar before the fight. And you're like, I'm so sorry, to Mark's house. It's not the house. There's no house there. It's hoose. Whose house you go into? And why does Mark need a candy bar? What's up with that? What's up with that? But they say weird stuff too, like peanut butter. And if that sounds like a subtle thing, but it's really infuriating. If you say peanut butter instead of peanut butter, all right? It descends. It doesn't ascend. That's a funky thing, dude. It's messed up. Don't do that. Peanut butter. I'd like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I can't even do that, man. And they say semi-truck. I get that a little. I get the semi-truck thing, a little eatsies. But yeah, you know, because you say semicircle. And some people might say semicircle, but that's a little bit weird. Semicircle. So they say semi-truck. Oh, man. Yeah, but buenos dias. What are you doing? What are you doing, dude? All right, here. Veronica, the Gretsch stole Christmas. Super smiley faces. Yes, it's true. It's true. We're going to show that commercial actually here in about a minute or two. Anita Yeo says, greetings from Singapore. Greetings to you. I am so happy. You're the first person not to listen from Singapore, but to confirm on air that they are watching and listening from Singapore. So I'm assuming, what time of day would that be over there? What time of day would that be over there? Right? Or nighttime. I'm so sorry. That'd be nighttime. So you're like, I got another buddy. I got a buddy who watches in India, and he, instead of raising the coffee in the morning when we howl at the sun, we do that. It's a transition song, and we got a cool, fun song that goes. And we howl at the sun. We resolve in our hearts to never give up and keep on smiling, to remember that we're going to die, to give our best every day, thought, word, and deed, to do all of that. But he, instead of raising his cup of coffee, instead of doing that, the guy's raising, you know, his food. His food over there. Yes, man. Let's see. Ruth says, first time on with the intent to listen to the entire show. We'll see if my attention span holds on. I hope it does, Ruth. I hope it does. You know, we're I don't know, man. I'm not a betting man. But, you know, I'd be willing to bet you'll give it your best. and I'm definitely willing to bet that I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm going to give it all I've got. Okay, Ruth? By the way, miss you. Very glad that you tuned in. So, okay. The whole idea here, and Veronica saying, yeah, you're not alone, okay? And by the way, we're never alone on this show, are we? We're never alone on the show, because we are a wolf pack here, right? I loved that picture yesterday, the wolf pack, and I should have clarified something. You know, I'm talking about it, and he talks about the alpha at the end, and he's looking and watching and seeing ahead and kind of directing everything, and I don't want anybody seeing that and being like, is Jeremiah saying that about himself? No, man. No, man, that's Christ the King, straight up. I don't have that kind of vision. I'm one of those. Put me in the front, or put me in that group of 5 that's there, man. That's the strong ones, right behind the ones that are weak. That's there to defend and there to help. I said that this show, man, it's all about the Johnny Q and Sally Sue. This show is about those who live on Main Street in flyover country, the people who've been mocked and marginalized and maligned for their entire lives. And that these people have finally, you know, they're standing up, and they've got a voice now. They've got a presence. And they don't even care anymore that the world is publicly labeling them all of these terrible things, because the truth is they've been labeled that their entire lives. But you know your heart. You know your love for your neighbor, your love for your family, your love for your church and your community, and ultimately your love for God. And that's the way we roll here. So we're never alone. When you're here, you're never alone. We are together as a group, and I'm super grateful for all of that. Speaking of the group, last thing before we move on to the commercial, and by the way, I say commercial, it's a happy, fun story. It's a happy, fun story, and I made it with the kids, right? It's so good, Papa John's even liked it. It's true. And Stephanie, nice to see you, by the way. Stephanie Yonkman. Very nice to see you. Same with Cherie. So, all right. Here's the thing. If you want to support the show, you got to go to paleocratdiaries.com. It's very simple to do. Paleocratdiaries.com. If you see that right there at the top of the page, you are at the right place. That right there, taken, 5 years ago now? 4.5 years ago. And that is the last evening that I had pillow blankets. It's a family tradition where we laid out as many blankets and as many pillows and stuffed animals and stuff as we can. And we lay down and we put on a cartoon, oftentimes vintage cartoons, preferably. We'll put those on and we'll watch those as we go to sleep. And that's a tradition that started right there. That's my firstborn. She died of brain cancer 4 years ago. And she and her words, her life, their death, the legacy that those left for the world and within my heart is a driving factor in everything that we do here. In fact, right behind Never Give Up and Keep On Smiling and Remember That You Will Die, those three things were emblazoned in my heart, right? Emblazoned deep within Papa's heart because I miss her like crazy. I miss her like crazy. But if you're there and you see that, you are at the right page. And if you're there, you can see our Connect page. I think I've got it. Oh, yeah, okay. Let me go back here. So, yeah, you got our Connect page. Of course, it's got our email. It's got a couple phone numbers on there. Right over on the far right, you can see my mega hot half-Korean wife. She's gorgeous, isn't she? Not going to lie, man. She's just so hot. I'm hooked up fat, man. I am so hooked up, guys. I'm like way out of my league here. I am. I joke around. I joke around and act like I'm a real baller, right? But I look over at her and I'm thinking, dude, I am so hooked up fat, dude. I love this. So, okay, every bit helps. So we made it easy. $5 a month. You can become a bona fide member of the Paleo Naughty, of the Wolf Pack. The Paleo Naughty is like a special edition of the Wolf Pack. Right? So all the Wolf Pack is, we're all together. But these ones are the ones that say, I want to be in that fighting front. You know what I mean? I want to be in the fighting front up there. And I want to make sure that this, we got the food. I'm going to be part of the group that's going hunting, making sure that we got the food to keep coming back to the table, gorging ourselves with amazing awesomeness 5 days a week. 5 days a week. So you can go ahead and do that. Of course, that's a recurring donation. You can also go, I'll put this in the comments. In fact, it'll go to all the different comment sections. So here we go. Watch this. Let's see. HTTPS. Let's see. PayPal. Nope. I almost misspelled because I got reaching over. PayPal.me/Paleocrat. Make sure I got it. There we go. If you would like to make donations right there, PayPal.me/Paleocrat. We're really grateful for all of that. And if you're one of those who likes checks and stuff like that, we've got some people who do that. And they don't like dealing with all the electronic stuff. You can reach out to us at paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. And of course, lastly, if you'd like to do interviews, and we're going to be doing a lot more on this show. I've reached out to some folks, and I'd like to have people on pretty much every day, at least somebody. I'd like to have one guest on every day, even if we're only 20 minutes, to 40 minutes, something like that. I don't want to go too long. And we're going to have Joe. In fact, I'm going to hit him up today and see if he can come on maybe on Thursday because, and I should have said this, gosh, man, I should have said this at the beginning. I'm not going to be live tomorrow. But, well, not on this. Okay, so it's not going to look like this, not going to feel like this, it's not going to, not going to have the microphone and the screen and everything. I may do some live streams, and if I do, that would be, I'll have to talk to the powers that be here, the power that be at Holy Faith Media. Got to talk to him about it to find out maybe if I can still restream, if I do a live stream. But I'm going to be at the parade and get together, the Christmas extravaganza that we are going to show here very, very soon. I'm going to be there, and so I'm not going to be on the show tomorrow. So if you would like to be interviewed on the show, if you'd like to interview me, if you have people that you think I should interview, reach out to me, and you can do that there, as well as public speaking. I absolutely love it. I used to be a speechwriter. I've done hundreds of speeches, hundreds of monologues in my life. In fact, in fairness, it would be thousands at this point, or at least over 1,000. Let's be fair. Over 1,000. Over 1,000 over the years with all the different radio shows, TV stuff that I've done, speeches that I've done, even school, even when I was a pastor, okay, things like that. So having to write sermons. So absolutely love it. Always enjoy getting together with schools, churches, clubs, small groups, you name it. So make sure to check it out. All right. With no further ado, we got to get back. Hold on a second. We got to get back to Maine. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to show this commercial, and then we're going to move on to the funny stories. So you're not going to want to go anywhere. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. And I'm going to get to the comment after this. I'll get to the comment. I just saw it having to do with a person losing their son this past May. Don't go anywhere. It's MZMO. Don't go anywhere. Okay. We're going to talk to you. Okay. Because that's a big deal. And my daughter, she was born in May 22nd, in fact. And man, it's a big thing. But we're going to talk. So don't go anywhere until then, until we get back. I hope you enjoy this amazing commercial put together by Paleocrat Diaries and my family, Team Tiny Dancer, pertaining to when the Gretsch stole Christmas and the people took it back. What is wrong with you guys?
Someone at school told us the Gretsch stole Christmas.
Who told you that?
Ken and Karen.
Ken and Karen? Why are you guys even listening to them? Look, let's listen. The Gretsch cannot steal Christmas.
What? But the Gretsch won't even let us go to restaurants.
That is totally tyrannical, but
The big Gretsch won't let us play sports or nothing.
that is wicked heinous, except that...
The Gretsch won't let us go to the roller rink.
Ugh.
What are we going to do for Christmas?
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Join us at the Lansing Capitol on December 23rd for the Michigan Patriot Council's Christmas Extravaganza. There'll be caroling, music, an award ceremony, even a live nativity scene. And we'll be gathering donations for veterans and those less fortunate this holiday season. The family-friendly fun begins at 4 p.m., topped off with a patriotic parade from 6 to 7. So tell your friends and family, your classmates and coworkers, that when the Gretsch stole Christmas, it was the people who took it back. Merry Christmas.
Will Santa be there?
Santa? Of course Santa's gonna be there. In fact, I've heard a rumor that there's gonna be some super hot, very fancy elves.
Yay!
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh. See, I told you the Gretsch couldn't steal Christmas. Not from baby Jesus.
The Christmas Extravaganza is brought to you by Michigan Patriot Hub, American Patriot Council, Stand Up Michigan, Republican Women's Federation of Michigan, Paleocrat Diaries, and Michigan citizens just like you.
Yeah, so right there. Definitely enjoying that. We had a whole bunch of fun with that. It was a really great time. And that's why, when you get the trolls and they're busting on it and they're saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe your kids did that. That's a weird commercial. I'm like, yes, it is a little bit wild, isn't it? It's a little bit wild. Know me, son. Know me, sister. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh. You obviously have no idea who you are dealing with. I mean, that's just true. It is just true here. So, okay, I said we were going to go back to this, and we're going to. Okay, we are going to. Let's see. Veronica says, I have 5 sons. I totally understand. Oh, talking about the talking about the kid at the stairs, right? My 2-year-old standing there, buck naked at the top of the stairs, screaming, saying, I want to be on the show. And I'm like, you got to get some clothes on. You got to get some clothes on. Oh, my gosh, man. Yeah, no, Bill Clinton, how's your day going? It's going great, man. It is going great, bro. Yes. Oh, and Veronica says, where did your green straw go? What do you mean, where did my green straw go? Where did my green straw go? I got a straw here, but I got a pink one, too. But the pink one is for the water. The pink one is for the water. So, okay. Man, there's a whole bunch of these comments. How did I get so far down here? How did I get so far down here? Oh my gosh, man. This is unbelievable, by the way. Yes, Ruth said she enjoyed spending time with the family. Yes, right here. CF missed that point at Catholic school just before Christmas. The pageants, the candy canes, caroling, time off from school. Here's the thing, man. Pageants, toast. Candy canes, I don't know if they ever brought any home. Caroling, none. We're in Michigan, man. We are in Michigan, and we are living in a time of crisis. And so because of that, it is a different kind of Christmas. And that's the reason why we decided to put together the idea of when the Gretsch stole Christmas. That's why. Is because we're like, we ain't having it, man. We ain't having it. We're going to do this because Christmas is bigger than everything else going on in the world, right? The incarnation of Jesus Christ is a flashpoint in all of human history, period. It's why we take a knee, man. It's why we take a knee even during Mass. It's why we take a knee at that point. Because the incarnation, man, changed everything. Veronica says, I want a microphone, but I just want to read stories to people. You know, Veronica, I want to do that too, actually. I want to do reading stories to people on the website. Not as much on the show here, although I've read poetry. I've read poetry, and I've read the what's the book, man? Let me see. I've read Tales from This. I don't know if you've ever seen this, by the way. I don't know if you've ever seen this. And I hope you guys don't mind, man. We're talking a little bit more with you guys. Cautionary Tales and Bad Child's Book of Beasts is by Hilary Belloc, and we've read some some stories, man. It's messed up. It's endearing tales. They last a long time. They last a long time. They're always great, but they're kind of messed up a little bit. They just are, man. They are. That Hilary Belloc, man. Yeah, but I'd love to read stories, and so if there are stories that you would like for me to read, and you say, man, I would love to sit around and hear you read this story, and watch it live or whatever. I'm definitely down with that. But yeah, I hope you get a microphone, Veronica. And if you do, make sure you tag me. Make sure you tag me, okay? Let's see here. Isa says, good to help people to know the good way of life. God is always on time. Amen. Yes, amen to that, by the way. Amen to that. Yeah, and Bethany says, so neat that you saw the castle in person. She did, by the way. Ruth has actually been in the Castle Paleocrat. And so she has been here, the Team Tiny Dancer headquarters in Grand Rapids, Michigan. She's seen the castle. She has seen the castle. She even saw my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law. I won't talk about that story. Let's see here, man. And people are talking about Archbishop Lefebvre and the future beatification. There's a lot that would have to, I think, go on before that, man. Yeah, Canna Bros 420. What's up, my friend? What's up with you? What is up with Canna Bros 420? What? I know what that is, man. I know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I know what's happening with that. Jim Murphy, good morning from YouTube. Yes, yeah. And Maya says, now you are on Facebook. Yes, the Kraken. Yeah, you saw that. Yeah, the Kraken. There was a lot of Kraken, a lot of releasing the Kraken going on at the Gretsch That Stole Christmas party, which was tons of fun, by the way. So, okay. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, and Maya brings up that I had a good night's sleep because I turned off the Wi-Fi. No doubt about it, Maya. No doubt about it. She's the one who said it. She said, you got to turn off the Wi-Fi. She said, turn off the Wi-Fi and stop putting that phone by your ear, man. You got to do it. Stop putting that phone by your ear, and at night, just turn off the Wi-Fi. You got to do it. And so I took her advice. She's very wise. She's a mover and shaker. She's a mover and shaker. One of my favorites. So here we go. But down here, I said that I was going to talk to somebody here about, where is this here? It's MZMO. He says he's lonely. He says he's lonely on where are you, man? Are you on D-Live? Yeah. So, okay, right here. Here's the comment. And normally we wouldn't spend so much time with this, but we have to, okay? We have to. In fact, I'm going to go to the news thing. I like this circle, but I like this better. I like the snow. I like the snow over there. So, okay, here's the thing. I hope it brightens your day a little bit. And that moon, too. So, MZMO said he lost my youngest son this past May. He was 5 days from turning 19. I miss him to tears every day. Now, I don't know, if you're a mother, if you're a father, I don't know. But either which way, I know what you're saying. And a lot of us here may know what you're saying. In fact, I've got a couple friends. One of them, lost his child recently to SIDS. And I guess it's been over a year now, I think. Maybe a year and a half, actually. Still recently, right? It's always kind of fresh in the back of your mind. And even on those days where maybe it's not, or those weeks that maybe it's not, that it brings a new kind of sadness with it. That, on the one hand, life is a little bit easier when it's not at the forefront of your mind, gnawing at your heart every single moment of every single day. At the same time, it's one of those things that when you lose a child, you'd rather be gnawed at every day than to go days or weeks without thinking about it, without it being at the forefront. And it's a tragic thing. I remember, in fact, it's one of the most painful things I've ever seen. It's one of the most painful things I've ever seen. Years ago, my son's godmother, Mary Jo, little Italian lady, and she lost a son. He was, I believe, in his teens, right? And she lost her son. Came home, found him, and he was dead. And it was extremely tragic. It was sudden, right? There were things that they were dealing with in life, but it was one of those things that you don't think that you're going to find this and you're going to walk in and see this. And I can only imagine that. At least in my situation, I knew what was coming. We knew it for 16 months. She had brain cancer. So we knew, and we knew what kind of brain cancer, anaplastic astrocytomas. I mean, them bugger, you want to talk about a wicked cancer, man. It's another level. It's another level of wicked. It's the beast, man. It's a wicked thing. And so, we knew, but to imagine being a mother and to walk in and to see this and to find your son dead. And we went to church for the funeral. We went to church, and I'm sitting out in the narthex, and the doors are shut and everything, and I'm out by the casket. And the casket's on wheels because at the Catholic Mass for the Dead, they wheel it down. They have pallbearers that go down the center with this casket. And so I'm out there, and you've got all these pallbearers, and they're all talking to each other. And all of a sudden, the doors open up. And when the doors opened up, it wasn't for the entry. It wasn't for the procession down. It wasn't anything like that. It was somebody just opening the doors, just kind of getting stuff ready and not thinking. Because right on the other side of those doors was Mary Jo. And Mary Jo turned and she saw that casket. And when she saw it, I'll never forget her face, man. Never. It was so painful. It's something only a mother really could understand. I'm a dad, and it's breaking my heart even talking about it. I'm trying to control myself here. But the thing is that it's something that only a mother can understand. A mother that bore that child in her womb for 9 months, who suckled that child at her breasts, who nursed that child and helped to raise this child by her side. To see this and to see it in that moment of finality, this thing that says what I'm looking at now is a ship for my child, is a container wherein my child will reside beneath the earth. Physically. And it was so painful. And to see her face, she ran so fast. And it was quick. Nobody could stop it. I mean, everybody in that moment, we all knew this is not what we had planned. It's not what we had planned. And she ran and she lunged her body on top of that casket. And in words that I will never forget, she said, "My boy, my boy, my beautiful boy." And I thought to myself, how can people live? How is it? Because she will go on. How? How can you continue to function? How can you wake up every day and move on with life? How can you do it without wishing that you too were dead? But life moved on for her. And she's bore that in her heart, and she's told me stories later. In fact, even with the Chaplet of the Little Flower, Saint Therese, She gave it to my daughter when my daughter had cancer. She came to the hospital unannounced while we were atheists. We left the church after that, not long, maybe a year after her son died. We left the church, and I was away from the church for about 8 years. And during that time, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, and she came. Her and Father Robert Sirico. Father Sirico, he prayed and gave a blessing over my daughter. He asked first. And I didn't want him to. I didn't want him to. I was mad, but I also said, Samantha's old enough, she'll say. And I figured she'd say no. But she remembered that he called her fire toes when she was little. She remembered. She said, you used to call me fire toes. And I'm like, I'm in trouble. And she said, it's okay if you give me the blessing. But Mary Jo came that day and she gave me a chaplet. And later she would tell me when we came back on Christmas Eve, because we came back on Christmas Eve, what is 3 years ago? We came back. And on Christmas Eve, I'm racing around, first time back in church in a long time. And I didn't even want to be there. And I brought that chaplet with me. I brought the chaplet. I didn't know what to do. And when I got there to the church, I'm looking around, and you can hear the full story. I won't go into every detail. But I'm looking around, and it was a powerful thing to see. The sounds, the smells, the chanting, the vestments, the altar servers. All of them altar boys. Well-vested boys. Beautiful music. The beauty all around, the furs and the poinsettias. And Mary Jo. And I talked to her afterward, and I showed her the chaplet because I didn't know where that chaplet came from. I didn't remember. And she said, I gave that to you. She said, I gave it to you and to your daughter when the night Father Srigo came to give her the blessing. And she said, do you know what that is? And I said, no. And she told me, that St. Therese, that she died when she was young. And that the number of those beads, and you say, glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost, as it was in the beginning, is now, and shall be forever. World without end. Right? And she told me that prayer, and she said, look, she said, I prayed this chaplet when my son died. I prayed it when my son died. And she said, I was so broken and so devastated. She did a novena, and she prayed every single day. And it hit me. I went home that night, and it hit me. And I said, it's a crazy thing, because here's a woman that I saw lunged over top of a casket, weeping for her child, watching as her child gets buried into the ground. And I've wondered for years, how do you continue living? And in that moment, I found the answer. Gloria Patri, et Filio, et Spiritui Sancto, sicurat in principio, et nunc, et semper, et in seculo seculorum. Amen. Glory. Glory to him. It still baffled me. And I was still unsure about church. I didn't know if I wanted to go back. So I took that chaplet one morning in the car. And I was driving around, and I just decided I'm going to pray that. I think I made it through 4 or 5 before I started weeping, unlike any weeping I may have done other than at the loss of my daughter. And each time I said that glory be to the Father and glory be to the Son. Right? Every time that I'm praying this out loud in my car, it got more intense and deeper and deeper and deeper. And like a fire began to completely devour me. I'll always live with that pain, and I know that you will too, Em. Parents should never have to bury their children. It is tragic. But it will make you who you are. It will make you the kind of person that, whether you wish this or not, and you most obviously did not, it will make you the kind of person who will be able to go into the breach, who will be able to reach down into that muck and mire and to pull people up who are wallowing in sadness and despair because you've been there. And the only way that you will continue to keep out of that yourself, because the tendency will always be there, the gravity the gravity of that situation will always want to pull you down. And the only way is by reaching up, grabbing the hand of Christ the King, and proclaiming, glory be, forever, even in the darkness. I'm sorry that I got really serious with you guys right away. I wasn't expecting that. I hope that it's okay. I hope that it's okay. These are the diaries. Even if they're not, turn the page. Turn the page. These are the diaries. People say, well, why are you naming it Paleocrat Diaries? Because of this. Because of people like M. Because of people like Samantha. Because you have to get to that place. If someone said, why don't you just get on and just talk about serious, the intense stuff? Or why don't you just talk about the funny stuff? And I say, why don't you just go screw yourself? Why don't you do it? The idea that I would subject myself to such a mundane task. Give me a break. There's a million different places out there. If I can't open up my heart and flesh that out, woe is me. Woe is me. And in fact, woe would be you, because I have to believe that stories like M and stories like mine and stories like so many of you, right beneath that, Maya. I know Maya's story a little bit, right? She's told me her story of her family. She has an amazing video, by the way. An amazing video that tells the story, right? Autism, stuff with the family. And you sit there and you say, man, you could go through that down. Barbara, right below her. That's Chris Farley's sister. No joke. Chris Farley's sister. She lives with that. She lives with the loss of her brother in this grandiose way that was super tragic and splattered all over the internet. We could go down to each of these people. We all have our story. And it's here that we can talk about it. And if that delays the fun viral stuff, or if that delays me pulling my hair out and lighting myself on fire, talking about politics and economics and culture, then so be it. There's a time and a place. There's a season for everything. And here's the thing. If somebody comes in and they're broken and they're talking like that, I'll tell you what, man, we are putting a stop on it. We're putting a stop on it, and we're going to talk. Thank you very much, M, by the way. Thank you very much. I'm grateful for all of you. All right. Let's see here. We'll talk more about comments later. We are going to move on. We are going to move on. By the way, how many of you, the Christmas star, right? It was cloudy in Grand Rapids. It was super cloudy. So I didn't get to see anything last night. I tried watching a video. It was like, oh, this is live. So I'm watching it. I'm like, this ain't even close. Like, what the heck, dude? What the heck? Where are you in the world to see that? So this right here, this is taken by Mr. What is it? Owens? Is it Benjamin? I don't know. Is that who it is? Or Owen Benjamin? I don't know. Somebody said Owens. So, but right here, you got this picture. It's beautiful, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful? Right? The Great Conjunction. And I think that's actually a little bit prophetic, don't you? I think it's a little bit prophetic, the idea that the Great Conjunction, because I think that we're at the point now where there is a battle between Egypt and Sinai. I think there's a battle between Egypt and Mount Olivet. I think there's a difference between these things. Massive difference, by the way. And we are seeing these rival views. The view of Antichrist and the view of Christ the King. The rival views in this cosmic battle, right? That is completely sweeping through the world right now. We're seeing it. And for, people can look around and they can say, man, it's looking super dark. It's looking super wicked. And you know what? Let's find the darkest place. And this is what a brilliant thing. It's like the last gospel, right? It's like the last gospel in the Mass. You sit there and you say, let's go to the place where there's no light pollution. None at all. There's no refraction of the light all over the place, making it difficult to see the stars. The clearest place. And let's go there. And let's see, can the darkness overpower the light? The darkest of the dark. Can't do it. Can't do it. And so you sit there and you say, even if it appears small, we're seeing the very nature of the thing. And the very nature of it is that no matter how dark and how bleak everything seems to get, the light will pierce the darkness. It penetrates the darkness. And whether it's from outside, like the world, when we talk about Christ the King and restoring all things, or if it's within, which is still the darkness of the world and Christ the King shining through. Either which way, from within and from without. What a beautiful picture. What a beautiful moment. What a beautiful moment, man. I love the Lord, man. God is awesome. Okay. So what's this thing? All right. So okay, hold on. We got a Christmas tree. So I gotta put the volume on here. Gotta put the volume on here. So we got a Christmas tree. That's kind of a cute one. I don't know why it's over there with that, lazy boy. Why is there a lazy boy with this Christmas tree? What the heck, man? What the heck? Who's doing it? I mean, look, I like sitting by Christmas trees, but I'd be like, scooch that lazy boy a little bit away, man. You don't need that thing tucked in so tight. You don't need it tucked in so tight. Oh, and is that a dog or just some blankies? I don't know. I don't know what's on the ground. So, okay, but here we go. Whatever. Here we go. It's a nice man chair. I'll put it that way. So here we go.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh.
Okay.
Okay, just like
Oh my God.
cover my butt.
How am I supposed to cover your... Oh.
So, okay, hold on.
My butt.
So, did he just say cover my butt? Wait a second. Oh, it's a snake! Dude, okay, this is a stinking snake! Wow! No, dude. And someone said, wait a second. They think it came up through the toilet. No! No. You are bad. You are bad. Man, I'm telling you, we did a story. When was this? Was it All Saints? The Halloween edition? Right? The Spooktacular, where we talked about was it a python that came up through the toilet? I didn't know these things could do that. I had no idea that snakes could come up through the hole. How'd they learn to hold their breath that long? What the heck, man? Like, that's a kind of a crazy adventure, isn't it? I wouldn't have anticipated this. So I've been learning to go to the bathroom at a 45. I'm not sitting down on that bugger anymore. You're out of your mind. I'm gonna make something, right? The snake bite proof seat to sit on. Because you don't want to be going to the bathroom and feel a little something up there, doing that. I said, no, dude. No. Stuff goes down, doesn't come up, right? On multiple levels with that. But the thing is, snakes coming through the toilet, sneaking through the little hole, opening up the lid, popping the lid in the morning, super sleepy, wiping the boogers out of your eyes, and there is a snake. I don't think so. Well, apparently, there is a snake, a big honking stinking snake, in the Christmas tree. Oh, Bethany, you sent it to me. Thanks a lot, Bethany. You are the one who sent me the mukbanging spiders. Why do you do this to me? Oh, you don't even know the amount of trauma this is leaving. You don't even know. Every time I go in the bathroom and I'm looking down, or every time I'm looking and seeing stuff about soup in other countries and everything, man. Every time I see a Los Angeles Dodgers shirt, because that's what one of those mukbanging chicks, right? People that eat food in front of you on video and stuff like that. The mukbangers. Oh, man. Yeah, they were wearing a Dodgers shirt while they're eating some spiders. Big old, hairy, nasty, black spiders. And I'm thinking, no. Ain't going to do that. Don't think so. Now I'm going to be looking at the Christmas tree. It's one thing, guys, if it's a raccoon. I got it, right? I don't like them buggers. I don't like them. They're cute from afar. It's kind of like, a bear or something. I like seeing them from afar, but, in my house, not so much. Snakes, on the other hand, I never like to see snakes. I got friends that are like, oh, dude, hey, check out my snake. You want to have this boa around you? Now, a boa, I've had a boa around, before like that. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't like it when they get their faces near me. I don't know what it is. I know some people that are like, that's really rude, Jeremiah. Snakes are actually really great pets. And I'm like, That's your opinion. And it's okay to be wrong sometimes. So I'll still love you, man. You're wrong, but I'll love you. And by the way, Bethany, you are definitely wrong. You are definitely wrong. Don't send me that stuff. No, seriously, keep sending me that stuff. It's terrible. It's terrible. I subject myself to it. I subject myself all the time. Let's see. Oh, yeah, someone said the snake in the toilet is an old urban legend in Australia. You got to see, by the way, you have to see the videos of the plumbers taking the snakes out. Taking the snakes out. Yeah. And if it's an urban legend, you tell me. There's pictures of this thing inside, right? There's pictures of it. There's a video of them removing it. So, I don't know. Maybe we've been duped. Maybe we've been duped. I'm told in the comment section that it's an urban legend. Told it's an urban legend. Oh, boy. Part of me hopes it's true. No, that it's an urban legend. I don't want it to be true. If you tell me and you say, here's proof that it's an urban legend, snakes can never go in a toilet. You tell me that. Woo! I'll finally be able to go back, at the 90 degree. I'm going to be able to do that again because it's uncomfortable. Although I'm probably really strengthening my thigh muscles right now. Oh, man. When I've been told that Bethany's going to be the Gretch. I've been told at the event tomorrow, 4 to 7, she's going to be the Gretch. You know what? I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that because she's always trying to ruin my Christmas. She's trying to ruin it. She's sending me these creepy things all the time. And by the way, it makes me wonder, what kind of videos, what websites would she go to for this crap? You got to share them with me. I got to know what these are because it's obviously a treasure trove of stuff that is whack, stuff that is completely messed up. Really heinous junk, by the way. I love you, Bethany. I love you. Portland, a reported cheetah on the loose in Oregon. Dang. It was a stuffed animal. What the? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. People in Oregon are like, oh, my gosh. They're calling the cops. 911. Hey, Maud, call the cops. You're like, why? There's a cheetah in the woods. Oh, dang. Okay, let's do that. And you find out later, it's like, it ain't even a cheetah, dude. It is a stuffed cheetah. Would you go up and check? Would you go up and check with that? Oh, my gosh, man. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, so would you go up there and be like, I think that is, imagine walking by, you're at the park. You're walking by this, and you see that bugger right there, okay? I mean, it looks kind of legit, a little bit. I don't know, look at the back leg, man. Look at this back leg over there. I don't think that looks very real. But then again, it's one of those things like, do you want to say, it's not real, and then go up and get devoured, or say, I think that's real, call the cops, find out it's a stuffed animal, and look like an idiot? You're devoured one of either ways. I think I would rather be devoured by looking like the fool. I think I would do. I think I'd be, a little bit worried. But who here watching this, who would be fooled by it? And I know it's easy. It says, looks too real to be a toy. Look, you think so? You think it looks too real to be a toy? Yeah, of course, it sat there dumbfounded that I was able to get so close for a couple photos. Turns out it was a stuffed animal. Okay, so they in a Facebook post. Let me go ahead and close this one down here. Yeah, definitely close that one down. Definitely closing that one down here. Oh, come on. Here we go. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, now, guys, what do you think? Someone's like, it looks too real to be a toy. And it's like, does it really? Does it really? Okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to take this up because you got to see his paws. Boink. Look at those paws, man. Look at those paws. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, that's why they. Okay, and look over at the fox on the right. Oh, who's the person, man? Who's the person that put that bugger out there? You know what I'm saying? Who is the person who did that? That's hilarious. All right. That's a good one, though. That's a good one. What's this? A mountain biker gets submerged by 4 feet sea of leaves, but keeps on going. This is by Rebecca Shepherd. I'll tell you. Over at Lad Bible. This is the first time I think we've ever talked about Rebecca Shepherd. We're going to have to see, man. Is she good or what? Because we've talked about different people. Sonia Jane. There's a couple others. Who's the guy, man, that needs to wear the bolo tie? Who's that guy? We've said that, we're not sure. I forget that guy's name. I got to be better about that. And we really do. I've said this so many times, man. We actually do have to reach out to these people and say, man, we want to interview them about, like, what are your favorite stories you've ever talked about? Because we talk about their crazy stories all the time. Is that an actual picture? Let's see. This is the moment. A mountain biker cycled through a forest and got submerged into a 4-foot sea of leaves. Okay. I'm hoping there's no music with this. I don't want to get in any trouble. But here we go. Let's go ahead and play this. Let's see. No, loading at. I'm muting that bugger. Hold on. So, yeah, loading at. Okay, here, smiling. Subaru! What is up with this, man? Subaru is really trying hard. Really, really trying hard here. No! I'm not going to Subaru, bro. I'm not going to Subaru. No. What the blazes? Okay, I pushed play too early. I hear you. I hear you. Okay, whoa. Holy cow, dude. Okay, we're doing this one more time. This is pretty dope. This is pretty dope. Look at this. Don't, point. Wow, man. Was he even pedaling, or does he have one of those mopeds, dude? Does he have a moped? Is this all rigged? What do you guys think, man? I don't know if he was really pedaling his way through that. You would think he'd have to pedal pretty hard. Don't you? And how much would you love to do that? Be honest with me. I know I would. Oh, my gosh, man. I know it. It's true, man. I would absolutely love to go through there. I love jumping in leaves, man. How old is too old, by the way, to jump into massive piles of leaves? How old is too old? I think it's maybe around 90. I think it's around 90. And I know that our 90-year-old people watching the show, they're like, what? Why are you saying I can't do that? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm just saying maybe you're too old to do it. Speak for yourself. No. Yeah. Okay. Oh, my gosh. And by the way, that is what our 90-year-old viewer, what he sounds like. Oh, no, I don't. And the face. Yes. Yeah. What's this? Oh, okay, this is one of those from the viewers. This is one of those from the viewers. All right. Japan is still trying to figure out Christmas. What? Oh, yeah, okay. Godzilla. Dude, is that like a tree that they've formed? No, there's no way. There's no way. One of those big bushes. How big would that bush have to be, guys? How big would that bush have to be? But this is their Christmas, right? So Godzilla's over there, right? Breathing. Wow. That's kind of dope, though. I mean, that is a little bit dope. Look at it. Look at breathing the smoke out and stuff. I don't know, man. What do Japanese Christmas songs sound like? Yells in Japanese. Yeah, you're yelling in Japanese. Godzilla! Godzilla! Oh, man. Yeah, I gotta work on the Japanese Godzilla yell. I don't think I'm very good at that one. Gotta work. What's this one? Okay. Me after a long day of being the funny friend. Oh, man. What? How many of you relate to this, by the way? Oh, boy. I do. I remember. In school, I was the guy who was like super short. I think I was like 5 foot. What was I? 5 foot tall in 9th grade, I think. And in 10th grade, I think I was still only like 5'2". I was one of those kids that, during driver's training had to bring pillows and phone books. It dates me how old I am and stuff. There were phone books. So we had to bring phone books. And we had to sit on pillows. There was a girl shorter than me. They had to have like a little lift that they had with the accelerator. The gas pedal. Right? And so, but I was a short guy. And back then I was literally huggable, lovable. That was it. Right? All the ladies. I would go out on a limb sometimes, right? I'd go out on a limb. And I'd be like, man, I really think this girl's really pretty. I really think she's pretty, man. I've always had a thing for beauty, by the way. It's true. It's true. Definitely a believer in that. I know beauty is on the inside and outside, but I was born with a fully functioning set of eyeballs and a rather good sense of taste and quality. And so I look at it and say, it's a both and for me. It's a both and, And, I would go up to these ladies and I would tell them, I'd open up my heart and say, hey, look, I really kind of like you and stuff. Maybe the Lord was sparing me from additional heartbreak, But the thing is I'd go and I'd tell them and they'd be like, Jeremiah, I kind of just like you as a friend. You're like a teddy bear. You're like a fun, charming teddy bear. And I'm like, and you are a heartbreaker. I did. I looked like Winnie the Pooh, man. I looked like Winnie the Pooh. It was a terrible thing. It was a terrible, terrible thing. And James Marone says, I cannot relate. I was like 6 foot in middle school. Yeah, but you're on the opposite spectrum of weird, right? So yeah, I'm the short guy. We cannot relate. Our views of the world were very different. What we saw of the world, I'm basically seeing your kneecaps. And so in middle school, I'm like seeing your knees. You could shin me in the face. but we, that's the opposite side. That's the opposite side. Oh my gosh, man. Let's see here. Yeah, but the funny friend, I get that. Oh. That's a sad thing, by the way. All right, not too many more of these stories here. You can now get Christmas dinner pizza. What? You can get Christmas dinner pizza with all the trimmings, and we've tried it. Pizza company Pizza Punks are selling special kits this December where you can punk up your pizza by using Christmas dinner ingredients as your toppings. No. Okay, no, I'm lying. I would do it. I would do it, guys. Would you? Would you do that? If it was neatly divided, right? You got to keep them separated. You can't you can't have it mixed up on here. You can't do it. What are the different things on there? If there are two things that we know to be true, and who wrote this? Who's the writer? Courtney Pochin. Is it Pochin? Pochin? Pokin? I don't know. It's Courtney. Courtney is writing this, guys. It's just Courtney. If there are two things that we know to be true, it's that pizza's delicious, and so is Christmas dinner. This is a fact, by the way. It's very few people will dispute that. These, my friends, are foods of the gods. So why not combine the two and create the ultimate festive pizza? Sounds interesting, right? Well, it turns out that this is something one pizza company has already done. I'm such a grammar Nazi. It's true, like, dude, one have not done it. Pizza Punks, which has pizzerias located in Glasgow, Belfast, and Newcastle, have launched an Xmas pizza party in a box kit for two. It contains two 48-hour proofed San Franciscan sourdough based with San Marzano, tomato, basil, and garlic sauce and mozzarella. That sounds amazing, by the way. And I don't know about what's San Franciscan sourdough. I didn't know this was a thing. I love sourdough. I just never. Is that a real thing, guys? Are they lying to us? Is this real? Is San Francisco, known for pizza? What we need a Chicago deep dish with this. It's what we need, man. We need a Chicago deep dish that's got this in it, man. You got to have it because them buggers are like, 2 feet thick. It's true. Massive. They come in cake boxes, That's why they call them pies. It's okay. You can have a different choice of toppings. Turkey, pigs in candied blankets. Okay, dude, I got that. Garlic and rosemary potatoes, roasted carrots, shredded Brussels sprouts, and bacon, as well as stuffing. Okay, guys, this right here is, I need it now. I need this right now. I need the staff on this. Guys, find out how much this is. Okay, you need to go. I need the staff right now to go. Where is it again? Pizza Punks. You got to look it up. Pizza Punks Christmas pizza. You got to look it up. I need it. I need it, man. I need to try that San Francisco sourdough anyway. Okay, a lot of do-it-yourself kits. The rest of it's a commercial, so I'm not going to do it. But, doesn't that look good, guys? Would you eat that? I would. In fact, let me go further than that and say, I will. And if and when we buy this, we're going to have to go ahead and do some of the mukbanging on the unlisted episode. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're going to have to do it, man. What the heck? Postman encounters dog wielding an axe. Didn't we talk about this one before? But this is new. It might have been over at a different one. Jess Hardiman. Dude, they are really boosting the people on here. So Jess Hardiman, she's a new one. She's a new person. And this is a new story, but I swear I've seen that. I swear I've seen that. Because I think we talked about it. I think we talked about that scary animal. That bugger. Well, I mean, I don't know. It kind of looks a little bit like a wolf. So maybe it's our friend. I'd have to say it's our friend. And if the news was going anywhere near it, it's protecting the property from the fake news. That's what I'm saying. Axe-wielding dogs again. That's what I'm saying. This might be a different story. I don't know. Wait, when was it? When was this? Dude, it's got to be. It's got to be. A Kentucky mail carrier had an unusual encounter the other day. Okay, so when was this? We got to see this. So it says it's on Thursday. We're going over to Facebook to see when this post was, because otherwise, if they're December 17th, dude. December 17th. So, dude, the dogs have figured it out. They have figured out how to wield, I don't know, some battle axes. We need to make one. We need to get the Paleocrat Diaries metallurgist. We need to get the metallurgist on it. Stat. Say, you got to make some of these battle axes, because I have a feeling. Just look at those animals. And by the way, they're probably cautious about the USPS because, some shenanigans that happen in, I don't know, November. In November. And I think you all know what I'm talking about. The overlords at YouTube have said, don't talk about that. Don't you dare talk about that. And I'm like, I'm not. You don't know what shenanigans I'm talking about. How dare you presume? I never said it. I just said it happened in November. You know how many things happen in November? You guys know. You guys know. Ah, man. Okay. Last couple stories here. And then we're moving on to some serious business. So you may as well just get your coffee ready right now. Okay, what the heck is this? I keep popping it bigger. I don't want it to be too big. Let's see here.
When's the ride gonna come to a stop? The what? When's the ride gonna come to a stop?
Oh my gosh, dude. Look at the road. And listen to that. That's like a seesaw from hell. Oh my goodness gracious alive. They say it's the wind. It's the Verrazano Bridge. Groans and shifts in high winds. Okay, this was December 3rd. Holy cow, you guys. Holy cow. Dude, look. You tell me, are you guys ever weirded out going over bridges? Do you feel comfortable on those things? Add that to the list of stuff that weirds me out. I'm not even going to lie. Not even going to lie. Oh, man. Driving over bridges. You always got to just trust. You got to trust that everything's in order, everything's in line. But you see videos, don't you? You see videos. Or pictures where bridges have collapsed and cars are caved in. And it's like, 15 people died today. And they were just having a good day. They're driving over a bridge and then it all collapses and they die. Or they're driving across the bridge and all of a sudden it starts. It sounds like Godzilla, dude. Dude, yes, okay. MMSU 31 said it, and right as soon as I said that, it popped up same time, man. Brilliant minds think alike, dude. Yes. Ruth says, does the Mackinac Bridge make noises like that? The Mackinac Bridge, actually, funny enough, that's the one that I was just talking about. Because the rails, man, those ones are actually pretty low. I don't know how comfortable I am with that. I know they do the walk over that and stuff. I let other people do that. They do it vicariously for me. Like, you want to do the walk? And I'm like, no. No. But then again, to be quite frank with you, I don't like walking on ice. I don't like being out on the lake and stuff. I grew up on a lake. I've got a lot of I have a lot of fears and phobias, guys. It's why we do paleo cheese with seeing scary movies and all of that. It's to scare me. That's the reason why. But Chad Lutsky thought that would be really, really fun. And by the way, Chad Lutsky was the guy that called yesterday at the end of the show. He's like, "Oh, I think Jeremiah's done. I think he's done. I'm going to go ahead and call him." And I got mad. I'm like, whoever's doing that, they're not paying attention. I'm on the show. They're calling me, and you hear you hear it on my computer. I'm like, wow, somebody who doesn't care about me. They don't love me. They're not watching the show. They ain't listening. And lo and behold, it's like, my best bro. Him and a couple others, man. I got like my own Peter, James, and John. But the thing is, I don't like walking across. Lakes and everything, man. Because them buggers groan. Like, you hear the snapping and the cracking and everything that goes on, the groaning of the ice. Dude, just wow. Oh, man. I don't like that, dude. I don't like that. I saw that G.I. Joe PSA when I was a kid where that little dude falls into the Iceman and they're like reaching out to him with a stick. And I've seen the remake of that over at, what is it, College Humor? I've seen it. Give him the stick. Oh, I've seen it. And I say, look, that's a lesson I learned. And you know what? Knowing's half the battle. So just knowing is half the battle of, I don't know, not drowning because you fall through the ice. Doesn't that just sound simple? Doesn't it sound simple? I see weirdos out there, man. Dude. They go out on the ice. All my life I saw it, man. They'd go out there with four-wheelers and crap, with vans. And they're like, dude, it's holding up a van. It'll hold up you. And I'm like, did you never learn that lesson from the Monty Python crew where that dude eats that little mint? And it's like, look, that guy was able to contain all that food. A little mint will not hurt you. And I don't know if you saw his carcass, but it exploded all over the restaurant. Again, another valuable lesson throughout my life. Another valuable lesson. All right, last funny story. Now, I think we're moving on. Let me make sure. Whoa, what the heck? Okay. All right, we're going to talk about that whenever. Tattoo? All right, let's see. I'm told that's not a funny story. Okay. All right. Mechanic repairing customer's car left in tears after finding a handwritten note. Okay. Yeah. A man noticed the sweet note while fixing the car and shared it on Reddit, where it went viral as many people were left feeling emotional after reading it. Okay. So yeah, it's been a tough year. We like seeing stories like this. All right, here. Yeah, let's see here. Not many of us are leaving this year with fond memories. While it's one for the history books, we can't imagine nattering much about the highlights of this year, at least for a while. But one man managed to inspire some hope after sharing a sweet note he came across while fixing a car. It almost got us in the Christmas spirit. You guys might not be in the Christmas spirit. I am. I am, dude. I'm pumped up, man. I am super duper psyched about it. I'm even wearing my scarf. I need to get a light rope or something. Dude. Wear that with my scarf. I'm gonna start wearing some tinsel. I'm gonna by Christmas Eve. I'm gonna be a full-blown Christmas tree. It's just true. He shared it on Reddit, where lots of people were genuinely touched by his comment. Not something that seems to happen much on the internet, or may I add, on Reddit. Oh, dude. Yeah. I love that writing too, you know what I mean? Only a little kid. Well, not only a little kid. I've seen some adults living like that. You know that the guy who wrote it, man, he's like, I'm 45 years old. My handwriting sucks, okay? It ain't no lady writing like this. I've never seen a lady with like wicked bad handwriting. Even the ones that are kind of sloppy a little bit, they still do the little swoopies and loopies and curly Q stuff to fancy it up, spruce it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But dudes got some wicked bad handwriting. Not me. I have had many a compliment, in fact, on my handwriting. And if you'd like to see an example of my handwriting, you can see it by going to paleocratdiaries.com and checking out my list of suggested books that have informed and impacted, and in fact, in many ways, molded the life of my mind over the years. It's a rather extensive list. I hope you guys enjoy it, but I wrote it out by hand, right? And is better than writing than this. But the heart of this, man, the heart of this. I love you, Papa. Yeah. Yeah. And I've done enough crying today. I will not go into a story. I'm not going to do it, man. Not going to do it. You know, I've got 2 stories that play into that. You know, the I love you, Papa, with all of my heart into a million pieces. I will not go into this story. It was, let's just say it's 51st Dates. It's a chapter of the book called 51st Dates, a book about my daughter's life and death with cancer, and also a letter that she wrote to me and drawings that she did. So there's a lot of things. And my kids, I was going through a bunch of the stuff, cleaning up recently and going through some papers, and I saw that my daughter's an old Christmas card that my daughter put together, and on the inside it looked a little bit, man, why am I showing that picture? I don't need to show that. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. So yeah, I love you, Papa. And it looked like that. It looked a little bit like that. You know, it's one of those letters that I'll always cherish and always keep around, kind of like the letter that we got from St. Nicholas. It's a mystery letter. We don't know how it got here. We don't know who wrote it, but, you know, the kids, they have their own beliefs about who wrote that. They have no proof, though. They have no proof. They have certain ideas. Some people are more probable than others, or I don't know, a specific person, and I won't say who the person is, but they say that that person is the most likely. And by most likely, they insist emphatically, it is that person. And that person keeps telling them they can't prove it. You can't prove it. That person, without saying who it is, that person has told them, said, hey, why don't you, bring out a piece of paper and compare handwriting styles? And they do. And it never looks the same. It never looks the same. And doesn't that seem like proof that it wouldn't be that person? Whoever, that person might be. Ugh. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Now, look, we got to get to this. Man. There's going to be a whole bunch of amazing things going on with this. Okay. We are going to, in fact, before we even get to the Wolfpack song, because that's going to happen. That is going to happen. But before we do, we got to raise the coffee high. We got to raise it super, super, super high. And I think I am going to do a little itsy spritz with the Kraken. I think I'm going to release the Kraken, guys. I think I'm going to release the Kraken. What is it, afternoon? It is. It's 12:12. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, obviously the Matrix. Okay. So, and just to tell everybody, I don't know what flavor this is, but the coffee that I'm drinking from today is another one of those. Hold on, let me get out of studio mode. The coffee that I'm drinking today is another one of those flavors that we got, the Wolfpack. We opened up the, when did we do that? Was it Friday? I think it was Friday. I think we opened it up on Friday. The Wolfpack got a package, right? Got a gift, a Christmas present. And inside was a whole bunch of amazing flavors. I don't know which flavor this is, because there's a lot of them. But it's brought to us by New Flower Coffee Roaster. Got that. 10% of the purchase that was done goes towards community development projects, and that's it's co-owned. New Flowers Coffee Roaster is co-owned by Adam and Cassandra Randall. So we're really grateful for that. But you've got to raise it up, guys. You got to raise up the coffee, so make sure right now, go grab it. In fact, I'm going to give you a moment. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to go ahead and do that. So go grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your Slurm, whatever it is, even your water. We make the indulgence here for that. It's healthy, I guess. It's healthy. So grab it, make sure, because we are going to be howling at the sun. Okay, we are going to be resolving. If we haven't done it already, we are going to be resolving deep within our hearts that we are going to dedicate the entirety of our day and our lives and rededicate every single day for the remainder of our lives. Our commitment to Christ the King, our commitment to rejoicing and being glad with each and every day that we open our eyes to. So we're going to do that. as soon as we get back. So make sure, go grab your coffee, whatever it is. If it's food, doesn't matter. I don't care. Beer, wine, champagne. I don't care. You got to grab it because you're going to raise it high. Okay? So we'll do that as soon as this commercial is over. Again, this is the commercial for the event that's going on tomorrow. It's going on tomorrow, December 23rd, 4 to 7. Hope to see you there. There we go. Oh my gosh. What is wrong with you guys?
Someone at school told us the Grinch stole Christmas.
Who told you that?
Ken and Karen.
Ken and Karen. Why are you guys even listening to them? Look, let's listen. The Grinch cannot steal Christmas.
But the Grinch won't even let us go to restaurants.
That is totally tyrannical, but
The big Grinch won't let us play sports or nothing.
that is wicked heinous. Except that...
The Grinch won't let us go to the roller rink.
Ugh.
What are we going to do for Christmas?
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Join us at the Lansing Capitol on December 23rd for the Michigan Patriot Council's Christmas Extravaganza. There'll be caroling, music, an award ceremony, even a live nativity scene. And we'll be gathering donations for veterans and those less fortunate this holiday season. The family-friendly fun begins at 4 p.m., topped off with a patriotic parade from 6 to 7. So tell your friends and family, your classmates and coworkers, that when the Grinch stole Christmas, it was the people who took it back. Merry Christmas.
Will Santa be there?
Santa? Of course Santa's gonna be there. In fact, I've heard a rumor that there's gonna be some super hot, I mean, very fancy elves.
Yay!
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh. See, I told you the Grinch couldn't steal Christmas. Not from baby Jesus.
The Christmas Extravaganza is brought to you by Michigan Patriot Hub, American Patriot Council, Stand Up Michigan, Republican Women's Federation of Michigan, Paleocrat Diaries, and Michigan citizens just like you.
I love that, by the way. Don't you love that? Don't you love that? Isn't that just a lot of fun? Isn't it a lot of fun? And aren't those kids amazing? Give it up for the kids, all right? I'm dead serious, man. Give it up for the kids. They're amazing. And by the way, very, very, very attractive and intelligent, I must say. It's just a fact. It's totally, and well-behaved. Well-behaved, loving the Lord, little sunbeams of happiness every single day, of righteousness in this very, very dark world. Speaking of that, it is now time for the Wolfpack song, everybody. And after we do the Wolfpack song, we're going to talk just for a minute in the comment section, and we're going to get to the hardcore stories, okay? We're going to get to the hardcore stuff, talking about the intense stories of the day. You're not going to want to miss that. But before we do any of those things, we are going to raise the glass high because we're rejoicing today and resolving deep in our heart 3 things. The Ninja Turtle hands, okay? The Ninja Turtle hands. Number 1, we are going to talk about never give up. We're resolving deep inside, never give up, no matter what, no matter how hard it gets, especially when it gets tough. Never give up. Keep on smiling. Again, especially when it's tough. Smile, okay? Smile because you are a child of the King, because you were made for a time like this. And memento mori. Memento mori. Ninja Turtle hands, Jeremiah. Not a W. Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles. Remember death. Memento mori. Remember that you're going to die. You are here on limited time, okay? It's a limited time basis. You will open your eyes in another place. But insofar as you are here, resolve to make it better than you found it. And in our case, it's easy and hard at the same exact time. Okay, so here we go. All right, little bride, get pumped up, bro. Yeah. Here we go. Come on, kiddo. Look at that guy. Look at Shirley. John. Come on now, Adam, Bethany. Woo. Here we go to the dome. Today is an amazing day to be alive, and I'm glad that you are with me. We're along for the ride. Let's dance away. Come on, kiddo. Dance. Dance and sing. Howl at the sun. Yeah. Hallelujah. Get pumped up. We got a big day ahead. Ow. Yeah. A big day ahead. A big day ahead. So here we go. We gotta do some of this stuff here. Let's see. Do. I'm gonna do some of this. Okay. Well, hold on a second. Yeah. Okay. That's where we left off. Let's see. M says that his passing. You're talking about the son, and again, I don't know if M's a mom or dad. Don't know. Passing in the closing of my archdiocese has me questioning man's church versus God's church. There's always a both and, by the way. There's always a both and with that, right? It's physical and spiritual. And sometimes, look, dioceses sometimes make mistakes. Bishops sometimes make mistakes. That's why it's such a daunting and dangerous thing, in fact, to become a bishop. It is. It's a daunting thing. What do they say, man? The road to hell is paved with the skulls of bishops. What's the phrase of that? Right? There's so many have done such terrible things because with great power comes great responsibility. And some people, they shirk that. Whether it's for fear, whether it's for doubt, whether it's for sin, whatever it is, because they're people too. They need confession. They also need prayer. They also need support. They need people holding them up. And they need people sometimes holding them accountable. In charity, right? But at the same time, we believe in a both and. It's not just a spiritual thing. It's also physical. It's a physical church that was built. Okay. And that's just a testimony, not only of scripture and tradition, but just of history as well. Yeah. Veronica saying that was awesome. I loved it. I don't know if she's talking about the story about the godmother that we talked about earlier. It was a tearjerker moment. If you missed it, go back and watch it, but not now. Don't do it yet, but go back and watch it. And when you do, make sure you have, I don't know, some tissues with you. Maybe a couple boxes, by the way. Michael's asked me, have you seen the new letter by Archbishop Vigano titled Den of Thieves? No, I have not. I am glad you brought it up, though. I will make sure to go and find that. Let's see here. I try to keep up with that, by the way. I try to keep up with all of that. But I don't pin, and I got to say this, I don't pin my hopes on chariots and horsemen. And that includes, by the way, bishops that may be more on my side than not on certain issues that are, in fact, very essential for the day. Although I believe we need to hold them in especially high regard, especially now, because of the stuff that we're going through. At the same time, I'm really cautious. Not to make it a cult of personality. Let's see here. Jenny says, good morning to all. God bless and Merry Christmas. Yes, it's good to see you. Stephanie says, I always wanted to see a show dedicated to good deeds, an injection of positive that showcases people doing good things. I've thought about that. And I wanted to I've said this before. I actually want to incorporate more like inspirational stories, like we've talked on All Saints Day, the Halloween spooktacular that we did. With that one, it was it was one of those things where it was a kid who, there's a company that makes Halloween costumes for kids in wheelchairs, and his made it look like he was flying. So it was like a box around the wheelchair, and it was like his back and legs were sticking out the back, so we had a cape and stuff. So when he'd ride in his wheelchair, he's riding around, and it was so awesome. And that was followed by a video of nurses who were dancing ballet for a young girl who was diagnosed with cancer and going through chemo and radiation. And that was the story that had me all sorts of teared up. I mean, in fact, it didn't just have me teared up. I mean, I was toast, and I didn't know it was coming. So, I mean, I'd already been kind of primed by that one happy story and, inspirational type thing, really touching and, in the heart and stuff. And I go to the next story, and I said, well, this looks cute, because there were people in tutus and stuff, and a little kid. But I wasn't even paying attention, man. That little kid had no hair. And I read that headline, and it got to that place where it said, for a girl who has cancer. And when I said that, I knew, I'm like, you can sense it, right? When you're talking about something, and all of a sudden those emotions start brewing, and you're like, you got to control yourself, brother. You got to control yourself. And I that was my initial response. It was a defense. I'm like, I don't want to be sitting here blubbery, crying and doing all that. My eyes are all puffed up and stuff. I said, I don't want to do that. But then I thought about it. I said, you know what? That's what this is partially about. And I did it. And I let it happen. And I talked about how that day is so special to me throughout the year. That day is so special. There's like 3 different times of the year that are real tough. You know, it's really, really, really tough. M says that the son who died was epileptic, passed away while spending the night at a friend's house. Oh, man. By the way, just heartbreaking. Will DeMont says, God bless you, brother. God bless you, Will. God bless you, Will. Yeah, man. Veronica says she cannot imagine, right, the pain of the loss. Okay. Yes, definitely. No doubt about it. Very, very, very grateful for you. People talking about the community Christmas party we just showed the commercial for. We'll show it toward the end of the show as well. M, again, says, I live in the shadows of the valley of death, but your words give me solace. Thank you. Yes, you do live there. You do live there. In fact, that place is a place that will always be in your heart. There will be things that trigger memories, you know, and over, you know, at the beginning of this, you're still within the first, 6 months or so of this. And so it's going to take a while. And I know it's a terrible thing to say, to even imagine that there will be a time where you're not so consumed, where it's not so bad. You may be able to talk about him or talk about that story and not cry. And doing that, in fact, will make you cry. Right? So knowing that you talked about it, or knowing that you drove by something that ordinarily would trigger you, but in this case did not, that will be its own kind of sadness. So not to cause despair for you, but to allow you to say, gird up your loins, brother, because the truth is, you will have pain upon pain and shadow upon shadow, darkness upon darkness throughout your life. But that's why we follow the light. That is why we have to leave that light burning bright within us. We have to continually have that oil in those lamps all the time. We have to have it to keep it burning always, because otherwise, especially those who've been through such pain and such agony, if you allow that to go dark and to get cold, it's a special, wicked kind of cold and dark. It's a great responsibility that you have. It is a great burden, and it's all the more reason to cast it upon Jesus Christ, because he takes that burden from us. You must do it. Maya says, this is what makes you so endearing, Jeremiah. Your willingness to be raw, to feel, and to share it with us. I'm really grateful, by the way, that you said that. I know there might be people out there that are like, oh, this guy, you know, he gets emotional and stuff. But you know what? I sit there and say, you've got to be. I mean, we live in a day and age of plastic people, don't we? We live in a day and age of plastic people. People who are there. It's just all a pageantry. It's all it is. A day and age, an era of masks. And that's all it is. People have their masks on. People have all their filters on all the time. And I sit there and I say, you know what? We got to be ourselves. God made us, man. Be yourself. Be yourself. Express yourself. And I know it's not easy for everybody. It's not easy for everybody. But I think that's one of the reasons why it's not easy for me. But I think it's one of the reasons why I feel compelled to do it, is because it's not so easy for everybody else. And I hope that maybe I'm making up for that lack. It's like a reparation. Stephanie Yonkman said, I witnessed a 2-year-old pass after her father accidentally backed over her at a river access. Oh my gosh. I did not anticipate reading that. That is, I have a 2-year-old. I can't even imagine that. For the rest of my life, I will never forget the guttural screams coming out of her mother. It's a scream of pain unlike no other. There was no way to comfort her. There are certain sounds that come from a place in your body that when you hear it, you know it's absolute sadness. It's a sound that makes you feel the devastation, even though it's not your loved one that died. I just ran to her and screamed for someone to call 911. Ended up taking care of her 3 other children while the chaos was happening. I will never forget her or her screams. Kyrie eleison. Christ eleison. And that is, wow. I love you guys, by the way. I love you guys, by the way, for this, to be willing to talk about these things. And I understand, even only in part, I don't understand that. That would be so terrible to see. And it brings up a dynamic of this, the dad. My brother was in a car accident. I've talked about it before. He was in a car accident when he was 6 years old, wasn't wearing a seatbelt. My dad tried to stop he reached over because they were just having a good time. They got their hair cut and everything, having a great time. You never expect an accident, right? And he reached over and he's trying to hold my brother back. He knew it was going to be an accident. I mean, it was like right there. And he reached over. It was too late. It was too late. And that night, I remember my mother. I remember her getting the phone call and screaming. And I remember the fear and the depth of the fear in that voice, in that cry. And I remember getting in the car and her sitting there and she's speeding. I mean, we're driving fast, recklessly fast, in fact. And we're driving and she turns around and she sees that I'm not wearing my seatbelt. And I will never forget the tone of her voice when she said, "Put on your seatbelt." Her eyes, the timbre of her voice is something that it will ring in my ears always. But my dad has had to live with this in a different way than my mom. I remember my mom because she was there, but my dad was the one driving. My dad was the one that got in the car and was just having a good time and wasn't thinking. And he has to live with this. And that's a different kind of despair. And the mother has to live with it too, to say, how do you forgive the husband? Especially when it's such a meaningless thing. Not meaningless, but you're backing up a boat. And I grew up, I know what you're talking about. I grew up on a private lake. We owned the property connected to the boat launch, to the private lake. So I'd seen boats, man, I've helped boats come in. And I can only imagine seeing this. And saying, the tension that would be between a husband and a wife and the kind of resolve the two would have to have, not just to continue, to continue on in a world where they've lost a son, but to continue on where they have to look at each other in the eyes and continue to love. It's different from my own experience. We gave our all. We gave everything we had. And I didn't have all the answers. I had a microphone. I had an AM/FM radio show, and I had an ability to write. And I used those to take photos and to network. I used my gifts and talents to the best of my ability in that situation to investigate as much as I could to help with cancer. But I'm not a doctor. And I've learned a lot even since she's died. Things that, I could beat myself up about to say, I wish that I could go back. You'll always have it. You'll always have it. But I remember the day when the doctors told us it's over. The doctors told us it was over. And they were all in there. And we knew it was going bad. I was by myself with her. And I won't tell that story or else I'm going to really weep. But I was alone with her. And it was obvious that she was losing. She couldn't talk anymore. We'll put it that way. Couldn't talk anymore. Her eyes were sunset down. And I was so worried. And she went into a coma. And they did an MRI. And they came back and they said her tumor is in her brainstem. And I asked, I tried everything. I said, well, couldn't you increase the steroids? Couldn't you do this? Couldn't you do that? Couldn't you do a surgery and remove it? And all these doctors, I was like begging. I'm begging people in this tight room. There's all these doctors, a whole bunch of them. And some of them were crying. And my wife was crying. And they said, Jeremiah, people don't walk around and live with cancer where it has gone now. There's nobody that they know of. And I had to make the call, and she told me the day before she wanted to go home, which I knew what that meant. People can tell, when people get older, there's kind of a, I've heard elderly people talk about this, how that desire to live, it's not that they want to die per se, but that they're okay with it, that it's kind of like, well, I'm going to die, I'm getting older kind of thing, and they're okay with it. They've accepted this destiny of death. And my daughter, even at her young age, said that she wanted to go home. It broke my heart because it was our last hope. I mean, this was like, the Hail Mary of our options. And she was so happy when I said we could go home. She was so happy. In fact, it was her last word. She wanted to go home. She wanted to see the dog, and she wanted to see the cat. She wanted to see Coco. She wanted to see Little Lion, the purring fat cat. And I said, okay. And she went, yay. And then closed her eyes. And that's the last word she ever said. So when I'm sitting there and I'm trying, and I promised I would never give up. I promised that I would fight with everything I've got, that I would be the knight in shining armor for her. I had to sit there and I had to look at my wife, and I was weeping in front of all these doctors. I'm weeping, trembling, immense amounts of fear, even self-loathing. And I looked at her and I said, please promise me you'll never hate me. Because I had to make that call. So I don't understand all she didn't. She promised, and we don't, because we knew that we left nothing out, We put everything into it, everything we had. So I don't understand that all the way. But my heart breaks for that. I've been close enough to people where that kind of thing has happened. A mistake, an accident. Something very unexpected. Veronica says that her son Malachi, 14, is autistic. I'm learning more. I've worked with autistic children in the past. But I really didn't know a lot about it. I knew how to take care of certain things throughout the day. But I didn't know a lot about what went into that. I'm learning more and more and more. In fact, that's one of the things that my connections with the Patriot movement in Michigan has really helped. I mean, there's a lot of people who talk about that, including Maya Hahn. She's on the forefronts of that, man. That's what her story, I mentioned that earlier, what it's about. Let's see here. We'll do only a couple more, man. And again, I'm just really grateful that we can just talk about this. And it's not like, well, you need to just talk about just the serious stuff. I hope you're okay, by the way, with that. People asking if I heard about the Patriots raiding Oregon. Yeah, I saw him bust in the windows. I saw him bust in the windows, man. Saw him bust in the windows here in Oregon. They went there. They're kicking it in like crazy. Kicking it in. Axe wielding dogs again. Okay, we're back there. Okay, good. People talking about the SSPX. I don't get into that too much on the show. I've talked about it, though, on The Meaning of Catholic. You can actually see that. I was on there with Kennedy Hall. He is an advocate for the SSPX. I'm friends, in fact, with one of the editors from the SSPX. And there was a possibility, at least for a time, and it didn't work out, and that's okay. And probably for better, actually. It was a possibility that I would work as one of the editors, going through and if you take let's say an article written by a French priest, and you have a translator that translates it from French into English, it's just a straight translation. I mean, it's real wooden, right? Real rigid, to try to stay as close as they can to the actual definition. And then the people that edit that, so you're like an editor for the translator, essentially, to try to keep the spirit of the words in that. And that would have been for the Angelus. And it never worked out. And as I said, for the better, actually. But it's true. They acknowledge all the modern popes. Yeah, they're not sedevacantists. But that doesn't mean... that's not the only condition, by the way, for unity. And you can say that you believe in that and yet have an asterisk by it. Right? And you say, well, yeah, I acknowledge them as the popes, but then you go on, a bunch of other things and say, you're outside of ordinary jurisdiction. You're invoking, some kind of special privilege outside of diocesan structure. And it does get a little confusing, by the way. Somebody brought that up. Somebody brought that up about how they wish that it was a little bit more clear the way that it's talked about. And it's like, well, there's a reason why it's not actually. You know, it's not even a question. If somebody says, well, can you go to Sacred Heart? And I say, well, go to the diocese, find out, are they connected with the bishop? Because the bishop has ordinary jurisdiction. He's connected with the Pope, period. End of story. There's no speculation at all. No, nobody even needs to have 1 second of a conversation more. End of the story. It's just true. And so it gets confusing when it's not the end of a story. When you're like, well, we're not, but here's why. Just inevitably, the mere fact that there's more words that have to be said, you're inevitably going to have confusion. And that happens. And I'm not saying it's entirely on them. I think, look, we talk about the wickedness that goes on within the Vatican and diocese and, the cardinals and the bishops, all priesthood, all the time. James says, Jeremiah, look into cat poop coffee. Yeah, dude, it's really expensive. But the thing is, dude, is that it's, there's some ethical concerns actually with that. And by the way, is it how would you pronounce that? Is it tempe fugit? Fugit? I don't know how to the pronunciation, but I know what you're talking about. In fact, that's one of the chapters of my book. Is that followed by in a parenthetical in a time of war, and that's kind of the transitional period between my having been an atheist and our going to church. It tells the story of our family, by the way. Yeah. Let's see here. Only a couple more things, then we're out of here. And then we're going to go on to the serious stuff. Bethany says, I have a horrible story about a little girl, one of my dancers I was very close with, that passed away when she was 10. It's been awful. Look, anytime that stuff happens, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. Ruth says, thank you for being so non-plastic. You better believe it, Ruth. That's the way that goes. I ain't messing around. You got to be yourself. You got to rock it out. Let's see, Ruth. Let's see. Don't you just love him? You just got to watch the whole episode. It does a heart good. I appreciate it. Even if you don't watch the whole episode, I know some people who cut out after the funny. And sometimes, man, it gets, stuff like this. And I'm like, man, dude, these people are like, I didn't know that happened until later. Somebody told me, and they're all crying saying, dude, you got to check this out. And they're like, well, I was only watching for the fun stuff. I get very few people are going to be like, well, I'm on for 2.5 hours, 3 hours every day, man. That's just the way I am. Yeah. Will says, hearing your story reminds me of a charity that I held a fundraiser for once in college. Cookies for Kids with Cancer, or cookiesforkidscancer.org. Raises funds for pediatric cancer research. I'm actually going to pop that open right now, and I'll take a look at that. I may even reach out to them here. Good morning from Brazil. Hey, good morning to you. Happy to hear that, man. Well below the equator. That's one of those places, by the way, I'd love to go. I've always wanted to, man. I've always wanted to go to Brazil. I love the pictures. I love seeing the videos, the music, the culture there. Just everything. The architecture. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'd love to go visit. I've had some close friends of mine down in South America, and they just told me, they said, you got to visit, man. And I would love to do it. Let's see. Brian, I'll never forget getting the diagnosis that our daughter would not live long, if at all, after birth. The pain was overwhelming. Then when she passed at 9 days old, that pain just multiplied. He's not going into detail. It's public. I mean, it's online. I know the situation. He's one of my dearest friends in the world, him and his wife. And their daughter was born with a very rare condition where the brain is on the outside of the skull. That child is going to pass. Okay. They don't live very long. Sometimes they die before they even come out. And they stood strong. In fact, they were encouraged by multiple people to abort the child. And they did not do it. They refused to do that. And especially it made it easier when they were talking about how because of the situation, there would not be the matter of pain. And because of that, it was like, well, are you out of your mind? Like, we are going to love this child. We are going to do our best. And they're beautiful pictures. They're beautifully painful and painfully beautiful, in fact, to see. And I was at the funeral. It was a powerful funeral. We were at the viewing. It was powerful. We've got some pictures from there. I wish I had done less editing on that. I used a certain filter back then. It was like a ultra real HD kind of thing. And I look back on it. I just wish I had the original file. I may still have it somewhere. But just really powerful pictures. So, okay, moving on. We'll talk about that later. So, okay. So this right here. Okay, this right here, we're sticking more and more and more. I got this yesterday. Yes, not a funny post. This is a tattoo. And it is the date of my daughter's passing. This is the date that my daughter died. 7/17/2016. And that is an owl, which was her symbol. I've got an owl on my, actually, let me go over here. Let me go over here to the news. Okay. Let's see here. Boom, boom. Come on, man. There we go. So this is actually one of her best friends. It's one of her Peter, James, and Johns. In fact, this friend here has reached out to us more since passing than anyone else. I mean, just all the time, even just to say hi, and that's not to downplay anybody else. I'm just saying that this particular friend, I've mentioned this friend before when talking about a painting, and I think I showed the painting on the show, and it said the adventure is out there, and it's a blue sky with some clouds, and it's got these bright, colorful balloons, and it says the adventure is out there, and I thought she's totally right. An inspiration through and through. She was one of the friends that on a day where you acknowledge a hero, someone that is a hero in your life, that's had a huge impact. She was one of the girls, one of the two that made her presentation was about my daughter. And she said, "This is going to remain with me forever." It's true. It's true. And by the way, we love you, Emily. We love you, Emily. I got to say this. This is a kind of announcement. Apparently, Adam represents the Tyranny Response Team on InfoWars War Room with Tom, is it Pappert? How would you pronounce that? Adam was offered the opportunity to do a live interview with InfoWars show War Room on 12/21/2020. Says Joe, out just yesterday. And he easily took it. Oh, yeah, totally, 100%. 100%. And by the way, you guys got to follow these folks. John Clore. You got to follow him. Adam Boyd. Got to follow him. Amazing people. They do powerful things. You know what? How did I not like this? What I'm doing right now. I wish they had like a buff arm that you could do to be like, dude, you're blowing me away. You're so strong, bro. A buff arm, because these people are at the forefront. They are at the forefront of this. And we've got a lot that we got to deal with. For example, this year, Davos, the Davos Agenda, World Economic Forum. You've got this. And remember, by the way, when people were saying that the Great Reset is a conspiracy theory? Remember that? It's okay. Here's what they're saying. Here's what they're saying now. The COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated that no institution or individual alone can address the economic, environmental, social, and technological challenges of our complex, interdependent world. Now, here's why, the devil's always in the details. And more than that, sometimes the devil, to be in the details, the devil is pretty familiar with details. Detail-oriented demon. Because see, here's the thing. That's actually true. That's true. It's demonstrated. If nothing else, there is a demonstration here that no institution or individual alone can address the economic, environmental, social, and technological challenges of our complex, interdependent world. Here's the thing. That was true always. You didn't need COVID. You could look at any of these problems. You could look and say, no one person or institution by itself. And people say, well, the church can. And you go, hold on. Hold on. The church can, insofar as its role is concerned. You're not going to have the Pope be the ruler of the city. People should read the social rights of Christ the King. And they should read Father Fahey on this. It's fantastic because it's a compilation. There's tons of these quotes about the popes and about what they said regarding the jurisdiction, right? And to say not jurisdiction in the sense that, because they have universal jurisdiction, but the idea that insofar as temporal power is concerned, there is a difference between these two, between a church and a state. There is a difference between them. But there's also a hierarchy. One is subservient to the other. Let's see here. The pandemic itself will not transform the world. Oh, obviously, right? Obviously. But it has accelerated systemic changes that were apparent before its inception. So they're saying, look, there are certain changes. And again, this is one of those things. This is one of those things where the puppet masters of the world, that they look and they say, well, look, we think that this is a problem, that's a problem, this is a problem. And they've got all these different problems that they believe are there. Not always in line with us, but they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. Okay? Unless they, except to shut us up. But they don't even feel like they need to care at all, right? They've got the answers. They're the masters of the universe. So they're overseeing it. And they say, okay, we think that there are a bunch of problems, and we think that there are certain ideas that are coming out, but it's taken a while. Things are a little bit slow. And they said, now with COVID, we're seeing this stuff really accelerate. And you go, wow, what is it that we've seen accelerate, by the way? What is it that we've seen accelerate? Joblessness, unnecessary deaths, terrible grades in school, homelessness, right? Complete destruction of economies. Okay, well, that's neat. That's neat. That's part of it. That's part of the acceleration. Because it's a consequence. It's a consequence of something that has most definitely accelerated, hasn't it? And that would be the tyrannical nature of the government that's taking responsibilities and powers, assuming them for themselves. We've seen it. We've seen them go well beyond what they should be doing. And the tactic in response to that has been, for a lot of people, well, we just, let's complain. Let's complain a lot. Or, well, we're going to go to the courts. That's fine and dandy. That's part of it. That's part of a recipe. But at the same time, we have put so much hope into chariots and horsemen. They've let us down. They've let us down. And we're seeing the accelerated systemic changes. We've seen those systemic changes when it comes to perversion. We've seen those systemic changes when it comes to the brazen racism that is emerging on the left. Brazen. In fact, the brazen racial separatism that is emerging on the left. We're seeing it. It's plain as day right now. Divided up into black and white. Divided up. This space is for blacks. This space is for whites. We believe these people should be getting these perks and not these ones, because we need to balance the scales of the races. There is no more red, yellow, black, and white. They've seen the acceleration of the destruction of red, yellow, black, and white. We are precious in his sight. Amen. They've seen it. They've overseen it. And they're doing this thing. Watching as it accelerates right down into the abyss. The time to build trust and to make crucial choices. Number one, they don't believe that they actually need trust. They're like, well, what are they talking about exactly? What are they talking about? It's fast approaching. The time to rebuild trust and make crucial choices is fast approaching. Again, look at the joke. Look at the facade. They're treating it like it's this thing out there that's coming. Do. Dun-dun. Dun-dun. Dun, 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 dun. And they're like, don't you see Jaws out there? Don't you see? It's on its way. It's inevitable. I've looked in the stars and seen it. No. That's not the way the world works. It's a weird kind of religion with these people, by the way. They're barely off from the astrology, folks. Barely. And like I said, we brought this up yesterday. People who say, man, we need to get used to the kind of multiculturalism that the left is talking about and the kind of critical race theory and all this crap because of the future. We're projecting that we're going to have this many people from south of the border by this time. And they treat it like it's inevitable. But they don't talk about how that occurs. And you say, well, how does that occur? Well, migration. Oh, so migration, like, is that a policy that we can debate and talk about? Refugees, migrants, legal or illegal, doesn't matter to them. They're like, well, it's just the numbers. This is the way it works. And you're like, oh, now I understand why you're against the wall. But here's the thing. When you oppose the wall and you talk about that, guess what that's going to do? For one, that's going to have a real dramatic impact on the numbers that they're projecting. And they know it, which is why it's hilarious that they talk about it as if it's some inevitable thing that's just out there happening and we've got to prepare for its arrival. As if it's not decisions, the result of decisions made by men and women in space and time that can be impacted by other decisions by men and women in space and time. None of this crap is inevitable. This is a religion of fate. They're pioneering mobilization of global leaders to shape the principles, policies, and partnerships needed in this challenging new context. So they're like, look, we have the magic crystal ball. We're looking at it. We're seeing it. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to tell you what you need. These leaders, by the way, these satanic pedo leaders, by the way, these eyes wide shut folks, by the way, they're going to shape the principles. They're shaping the principles and policies and the partnerships. It's all covenantal, by the way. It's just, it's their voodoo talk needed in this challenging new context that's coming our way. It is essential for leaders from all walks of life to work together virtually. Virtually. Why virtually? For a more inclusive. You're going to need to explain what that means, by the way. You're going to need to explain what that means. I'm down for inclusivity. For example, I think that workers should have more of a say kind of in their environment that they're working in. It's a traditional Catholic belief. And there's ways to do that without stomping on the rights of owners. But more inclusivity, I got that. Okay, I hear you. Cohesive. For more cohesive future. Okay. Yes, that's why I think we should have, peace and trade deals and stuff, and why we should be less at war with people. Peace, not war. I get that. We should be more cohesive. We should maybe stop the balkanization. We should begin to have. We should fight for a resurgence of beliefs and values that kept us strong and kept us united, even amongst our differences. And a sustainable future. What do you mean by sustainable? What are you talking about? Because their version of inclusive is not my version of inclusive. Their version of cohesive is not my version of cohesive. Their ideas of sustainability in the future is different from ours. They're going to need to unpack that as soon as possible in 2021. To this end, the World Economic Forum has served for more than 50 years as a trusted platform where leaders from business, government, international organizations, civil society, and academia convene to address critical issues at the start of each year. And look, this is one of those things that if we're just sitting here complaining about these folks and we're not doing stuff similar to this, then we're going to lose. And we deserve the wicked society that we get. We need, in fact, to provide trusted platforms where leaders from business, government, international organizations, and civil society and academia convene to address critical issues at the start of each year. It doesn't have to be the start of each year. It's a good idea. I get it. Looking back, looking forward. But we need to provide this as the alternative, because right now, the city of man has their stuff. They have their ducks in a row. Now, it's easier for the collectivists to get ducks in a row. It's harder to herd cats and stuff. It's harder. And so conservatives can, there's quagmires everywhere, right? It can be a difficult thing to wrangle everybody in. At the same time, we have to. We need to begin reaching out to leaders in business, government, international organizations, those people who believe in Christ the King, who believe in national sovereignty, who believe in tradition, who believe in restoration of things, the reconstruction of civilizations, of religions that the world has attacked for so long. And in fact, at this point, attacked and deconstructed relatively successfully. What are we doing? Who are we talking to? That's what I'm going to do, by the way. I'm going to be talking to people. I would like to be part of organizations and groups that provide these platforms, serious platforms that do this and say, look, you know, we need to be in a coalition with other people that are going to be able to do this, because this is what these people are up against. And if you think that all of these people like each other, you're wrong. If you think that every single person there agrees with each other, you are wrong. But they're able to say, in order to get what they call good, in order to attain that, it means they may have to sacrifice the perfect. The road to their dystopia is quite long. And they're willing to do that because at least these people are understanding what covenantal people should understand. And that is a transgenerational project. It's a transgenerational project. It didn't start with you. It's not going to end with you. So what are they doing? I mean, you know, they're talking about driving responsible industry transformation and growth. So I mean, they're you know, let's dabble in everything. These are control mechanisms. Each and every one of these things are control mechanisms. These are not freedom mechanisms. These are not liberty mechanisms. These are not moral mechanisms. These are we want to control. This is a humanistic project. This is robustly the city of man. The stewardship of the global commons. Harnessing the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. By the way, I got the book. I think it's here. I'm going to read that COVID-19, The Great Reset by old Schwab. Going to read that. I got it. Bought it. Because I said, you know, I don't want to just talk about it and just talk about what other people have to say. I want to read the actual book itself. And break that bugger down. Then maybe we'll do like a burning of it. No, I won't burn it, but I ain't going to give it away. I don't want to be spreading the disease all over the place. Spreading the disease. Yeah. But talking about how do we have international global cooperation? And, you know, I think that's one of those things that I know a lot of Christian people that may not like ecumenism, or they may not like interfaith events and stuff like that. Then do a better version of it. But if you know, I know people who say that they believe in Christ the King. They believe in the reconstruction, right? The restoration of things in Christ. They believe in that, which is good, by the way. That's good. I mean, you're talking Pius X stuff. That's good. But at the same time, they kind of come across in some ways socially almost like the Benedict option. They're buckling in. It's like, dude, it's a little bit more like the Amish folks, maybe. It's a little bit like the Amish folks. You got to do better than that. It's one thing to complain about something. It's another thing to do it right. If you think that those events are not going according to as they ought to go, but no matter what, you got to deal with a world where you're trying to make common connections, and you're trying to say, like, look, even if you don't agree with me, we do this in America all the time. How many different businesses do you go to that are not owned by Catholic people? So obviously, right from the get-go, and not even Christian people. Let's just say they don't even believe in Christianity at all. How many places have you gone? Do you not go to Chinese restaurants ever? Not as if I don't want to be stereotypical, but let's just assume you go to a Chinese restaurant where the person who runs the shop is a Buddhist, or, you know, maybe they're into Taoism. Maybe that's what they're into. Maybe they're into the Confucius stuff, which, by the way, is not necessarily like a religious system. That's a different story. But the thing is, let's just say that's what they're into. Let's just say they're into that, okay? They're into the Buddha. And you go, yeah, well, I really like their food. And you say, so obviously you're believing that people can provide goods and services. And you say, well, yeah, but they're also, in America. It's an American place. And you go, yes, but the point is it's something beyond that measure. It's something beyond that measure. It's something beyond that standard of saying, well, it's not Catholic. I can't do anything with them. I can't work with them. And we need to figure out, how do we work with people who disagree with us? Because inevitably we're going to have to. If you're one of those people that believes that the world is accelerating in a path of destruction, right? It's going down the whirlpool to hell. If you believe that, and it's just getting faster and faster and faster, and you believe that Christendom, right, the great Christendom of the past, even better and stronger, beefed up, right, is going to emerge from that. Is going to emerge from that whirlpool like a phoenix. And you're like, whoa, yeah, that's what's going to happen. You're an idiot. If you think that's how it's going to work, you're a dummy. You should do some reading. I don't think anybody watching the show believes this. I don't think anybody in the show is, maybe they're tuned in and they're like, oh no, we don't have to do anything. Just wait for everything else to fall apart, and then we will emerge with power. And everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a weird kind of, again, that's a kind of fatalism. That's a kind of fideism, man. You gotta back that stuff up, dude. Head on out with that. It requires work. And work with people that you don't agree with. I had to be in meetings before. When we worked for pro-life stuff, man, I was the chief aide to a lobbyist that was one of the big things we dealt with. Right? Christian conservative lobby group. And one of the things we were always doing these meetings and coalitions all the time. There were people in that coalition that I didn't like at all. There were, in fact, some swampy people in that coalition that I didn't like at all. I had a real problem with some of the Mormons, by the way. A lot of them didn't like me. In fact, it caused a huge scandal in the Constitution Party. They ended up having a big meeting over it. Because what was it? American Independent Party in Nevada? Is that what it is? It's run by a bunch of these, very curious Mormons. But they have beliefs about abortion that were dramatically different from my own. And so I'd go in there and we'd debate. I was one of the main people doing this. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, I was the main person. And told by people, oh, you don't have to go down there. Oh, yeah, I didn't need to go down there. I should have gone down there. But the thing is, you had to deal with them. And there were many different situations where people and their beliefs, it made it difficult to attain the perfect. But in many instances, that actually was better. It wasn't better in the grand scheme, but it was better about getting us to the grand scheme. Or at least closer. And insofar as we are closer, it's kind of like, if you say that the truth is at the center, insofar as it deviates from that, it becomes really, really false, right? If the truth of the gospel and if orthodoxy is at the center, then any deviation from that gets into the heretical. It gets into the schismatic by deviation, right? So the further out you go, on that spectrum, on either right or left, it doesn't matter. At the center of it is the truth. At the center of it is the orthodoxy, is the good. And insofar as it separates from that, it gets bad, right? And you say, yes. So if you're out here at the bad, and you start to bring it in, and you go, yeah, but I'm not all the way in the middle. That's where I want to be. And I say, so do I. Maybe that person over there that helps build our numbers to get closer to that, by deviation, maybe that person's not all the way there. But without that person, without that individual, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to be like the American Solidarity Party. Good luck with that, by the way. Good luck with that. And here's the thing. I got all this news, guys, by the way. Well, I was gonna talk about other stuff, about Dr. Birx getting caught breaking her own rules, or Bill Barr saying he's not going to appoint a special counsel, and how, by the way, that impacted Q. Because all these people, I have friends, man, they're really big about the Q stuff, and I sit there and I say it's like cold readings. You have to keep a track. You have to keep track of those things that end up being false. Otherwise, it's easy to latch on to those things that prove to be true. And so you go, man, well, this proved to be true. And you go, yes, in a long track record of wrong. Again, not to dog everything about it. I definitely am not dogging the community of people. Some of the most patriotic people I know. But again, don't put your trust in horsemen, especially when you don't even know who they are. That's a lesson learned from LARPers, by the way, which has happened. And it's a possibility even with Q. May even at this point be a probability. But right here, encyclical of Pope Pius X. And I wanted to just talk about this. This is written a long time ago. And I want you to think about this. Restoration of all things in Christ. Okay? So we're talking, this is a long game. But I love what he says. And this applies, I don't know how this wouldn't apply to everybody in this movement, right? People talking about this. We're at a place where you sit there and you say, these principles apply. Here we go. We were terrified beyond all else by the disastrous state of human society today. When was this written, by the way? When was this written, by the way? I think it's at the bottom. Hold on. 1903. The 4th day of October. In the first year of the pontificate. Think about how powerful that is, by the way. That's laying the law down. Laying the law down pretty quick. But talking about even then, the disastrous state of human society. Talking about who can fail to see that society is, at the present time, more than in any past age. And remember, I'm always talking about this, about the relative size and scale of things that different groups go through. So you go, different time periods go through. So to them, what they were experiencing at that time was worse than at any time before. To them, you would have a lot of Adventism. That's what happened with Azusa Street. You start to see the Pentecostalism start to come out in the early 1900s. The revivalism. Those are inevitable social consequences of really dark times, by the way. But they thought it was the worst. Suffering from a terrible and deep-rooted malady, which developing every day and eating into the inmost being is dragging it to destruction. And what's the disease? Apostasy from God. Wow. Look, apostasy from God, than which in truth nothing is more allied with ruin. According to the word of the prophet, quote, for behold, they that go far from thee shall perish. From the Psalms. So you look at it and you say, man, wow, okay, this isn't the first time we've been through this. It was an amazing apostasy, unlike anything they'd ever seen. And think of what happened afterward, by the way. Think of what happened afterward. Think of the way that the world changed in some ways quite good. In other ways, you see the tracks that are going where you're seeing America ascending and you're seeing Europe descending and going into chaos, violence, and war. It's an arms race of wicked and good. But it's not unprecedented, guys. We must hasten to find a remedy. Yes, that's what the show is about, man. I'm done doing I'm complaining about this or I'm complaining about that. If we can do that till we're blue in the freaking face, and you know what that's going to accomplish? Nothing. Nothing. It's good to point out the hypocrisy. Yes. It is good to show the lack of reliability in groups like, the phonies, the phony baloney nonsense that we see with the governors and with the journalists and everything else, the politicians of all kinds. That's good. That's good, but it is insufficient. So if we do that and we end there, okay, good. You're like a meme review. Great. A meme review is fun. It's amusing. It's entertaining and in many ways informative, but it's not going to transform society much. Well, it might, but it's not going to bring back, to restore, as it says here, to restore all things. It's not sufficient. It says that we recoil in terror from the task, being cognizant of our weakness. We recoil in terror from a task as urgent as it is arduous. What we're talking about, bringing back the good, making it great again, making America great again, making the church great again, making the liturgy great again, making masculinity and femininity great again, making beauty great again, making international trade deals great again, making these things great again, making the land movement great again, making economies of size and scale great again. So many things great again. The centrality of the gospel, even to a point where we have enough in common that even with those we disagree with, we're able to coexist. Because right now, you can use that word coexist all day long. We don't have that thread that's needled through the entirety of our culture. We don't have that stuff in common anymore. We're nowhere near a melting pot. We're like a tossed salad filled with a whole bunch of really angry meatballs. Really terrible stuff. And right here, when all this is considered, there's good reason to fear lest this great perversity may be, as it were, a foretaste. And here's the thing. In fact, that's prescient. Think of the foresight, by the way, in that. To say, man, this is a foretaste. Look at the wickedness that's coming around and say, man, we got a lot of wickedness right now. It's taken to another level. It's taken to another level at magnitudes that are just mind-boggling. And perhaps, and I like the perhaps, a qualification, the beginning of those evils which are reserved for the last days. And that there may be already in the world the son of perdition, to whom the apostle speaks. Such in truth is the audacity and the wrath employed everywhere in persecuting religion, combating the dogmas of the faith, the brazen effort to uproot and destroy all relations between man and the divinity, while on the other hand, and this according to the same apostle in the distinguishing mark of Antichrist, man has with infinite temerity put himself in the place of God. He raises himself above all that is called God. We're seeing this now with infinite temerity. We see it when they talk about, yeah, I understand I'm shutting down churches. Yeah, you can do it at home. You don't need to be a church. They don't understand, by the way, not only do they not understand Christian community, they don't in the fellowship of the brethren, they don't understand the sacraments. They don't understand sacramental theology. They don't understand Catholic liturgy at all. So I mean, even beyond just the mere community part, and that's not, I don't want to downplay that at all. We're not to avoid this. We're not to stay away from it. But look at the temerity. And I love this. In such wise that although he cannot utterly extinguish in himself all the knowledge of God, he has contemned God's majesty and, as it were, made of the universe a temple wherein he himself is to be adored. We are living there now. Now. It's a wicked thing, guys. Abusing liberty, violating the right and the majesty of the creator of the universe. But, and there is a very glorious reversal here, but the victory will ever be with God. Nay, defeat is at hand. At the moment when man, under the delusion of his triumph, rises up with most audacity. Because God will break the heads of his enemies, that all may know, quote, that God is the King of all the earth, that the Gentiles may know themselves to be men. So I look at this and people get worried and they're like, man, look at the Great Reset. Look at all this stuff. And I say, yes, but remember, we are people that can look back through the glasses of space and time to look at history and the democracy of the dead and hear the wisdom that they brought forth, to see the experiences that they endured, and to learn. And not just to learn, but to have hope from that, to be emboldened by that, and to say, look at this. What does the ancient text say? What does it say, guys? that God's going to break the heads of his enemies, that all may know that God is the king of the earth, and that the Gentiles may know themselves to be men. How are we to expect this? I love it. We believe and expect this with unshakable faith. Do you? It's hard for me. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to act like I'm like, oh yeah, man. It's unshakable for me. Sometimes it's hard, isn't it? Sometimes it's hard to believe. Sometimes it's hard to believe the role that we play, isn't it? What can we do? We're everyday folks. This is a daunting task, isn't it? This is a big thing. And it's a big thing not just because the nature of the matter. I mean, obviously it's a big thing. But it's a big thing also because that is the way that the enemy has made it. But the enemy has made it a big thing because ultimately the enemy is trying to take what is already a big thing under Christ the Lord, isn't it? When you have all power and all authority in heaven and on earth, that's kind of a big thing. When you're supposed to subject all things to Christ Jesus, that's kind of a big thing, I guess. All things is pretty big. Pretty big. And it doesn't come down. It doesn't come down from the sky like, well, it's just going to just kind of plop on us and we're all just going to be like, wow, look at how everything was all of a sudden done. No, we have a role to play. And it's easy to feel like because the situation is so big and the burden on us is so real that we for some reason feel like, well, I've got to do it all by myself. Get it out of your mind all the way, right now. Just get it all out. Don't even think that way. Don't even think that way at all. Get it gone. Because the truth is, that's ridiculous. The truth is, that's absurd. Don't be cuckoo. You ain't going to do it all by yourself. You know what you got to do all by yourself? You got to do what God has called you to do. And I don't know that for you, just like you don't know that for me. I have to discern that. You have to discern that. Pray and fast. Talk, spiritual directors. Talk with elders of your church, whatever it is. Talk with them. Say, look, I'm living through this time. It's really tough. I hate seeing this, and I know that my role is limited. I know, I'm just a regular Johnny Q and Sally Sue. I'm just a regular person. But I feel helpless, and I feel like I can't commit the way I want to. It's kind of like appetites a lot of times. They say your eyeballs were hungrier than your belly. It's kind of that way when you're seeing what you want in society, and it's this grand thing. And you say, man, I want that. And that's good. But the thing is, sometimes we feel like we have to just assume all of that on our own. But part of the beauty of the way that God works is he works through people. He works through these institutions, each one with a role to play. And that there's differences. Look, it's one of the reasons why we don't believe in this grand leveling of democracy, where we believe that inequalities are fine. Natural inequalities. Some people are really good at doing some things and some people aren't. That makes them different. And that's okay. God's not sitting there saying, man, I wish I would have made everybody the exact same. No. That's totally fake news. Be okay with that. In fact, celebrate that. Work together on that and say, look, this person's able to do this, but maybe they have a weakness on that. This person makes up for that weakness. And together we are a unified whole. And by the way, that's a God design. Not everybody is an arm. Not everybody is a leg. Am I right? Can I get an amen on that? So we have to be able to do that and to recognize that the limited thing doesn't mean that it's insignificant. In fact, it's ultimately significant. It is significant. Each person, what they are called to do, what they've been equipped for this moment and for this time, what they've been called to do, to give it everything they got, man. And I love this. But this does not prevent us also, according to the measure given to each, look at the wisdom, from exerting ourselves to hasten the work of God, and not merely by praying assiduously Arise, O Lord, let not man be strengthened. But more important still, by affirming both by word and deed and in the light of day. Man, does that have Wolfpack written all over it? Holy cow! Holy cow! Yes, howling at the sun in the light of day. We are rejoicing, raising our glasses high. Doesn't matter where we are because we're grateful to the Lord. It's another day that the Lord has made. And we commit to the idea to remember that we are on a limited time, giving all of our thoughts, words, and deeds. Because he is king over all. And right here, God's supreme dominion over man and all things. The Wolfpack. We are at the heart of this, guys. We are at the heart of restoration. A great reconciliation, in fact. You must believe that you're being here. The mere fact that you're here now. The mere fact that you're watching this right now. How many other shows? I know there are other shows doing this, but you're here. You're part of an amazing community, amazing group of people that are committed each and every day to this grand, grand idea. Realizing that you play a role. You're a special person. Your experiences, your gifts and talents are important. And I'm glad you're here. We shall never, however much we exert ourselves, succeed in calling men back to the majesty and empire of God, except by means of Jesus Christ. There's no other foundation. No other foundation that can be laid. It is in Christ alone, whom the Father sanctified and sent into this world, the splendor of the Father and the image of his substance, true God and true man, without whom nobody can know God with the knowledge of salvation. Neither doth anyone know the Father but the Son, and he to whom it shall please the Son to reveal him. Hence it follows, listen, hence it follows that to restore all things in Christ and to lead men back to submission to God is one and the same aim. Look at how God works. Look, I didn't read this until recently. I read it a long time ago, but I didn't read it in a long time. But look at how God works within our lives. Look at the way that we've been talking and emphasizing the idea that if people have not taken a knee for Jesus Christ, they need to do it today. And if you're one of those that used to be a Christian, maybe you walked away, come back. Come back, brother. Come back, sister. Come back. And if you don't know how to come back, or you've never taken a knee in the first place, reach out to us. You don't have to reach out to me. Reach out to anybody you know who's loving the Lord. But I open it up and I say, look, you can email me, paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. Paleocrat Diaries. It's right on the screen right now. Paleocratdiaries.com. If you put an @gmail before that, that's my email. It's that easy. To this, then, it behooves us to devote our care to lead back mankind under the dominion of Christ. This done, we will have brought it back to God. Dang, son. Look at this. Look at the blueprint. Let's see here. There's only a couple more things, and then we're gonna go back to the comments, and we're done. I'm not even going to talk about other topics today. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I have a bunch of news. And I'm like, no, we can do that. Look, you guys, there's maybe I'll post them somewhere else. Maybe a quick fire, boom, boom, boom. I don't know. Because we can do this. I do it all the time. But this, I hope you needed this, by the way. If our desire to obtain this is to be fulfilled, we must use every means and exert all our energy to bring about the utter disappearance of the enormous and detestable wickedness so characteristic of our time. Think about, man, that is just loaded with power. If we want our desire to obtain this to be fulfilled, you subject all of it to Jesus Christ. You annihilate it. You annihilate it. We must use every means and exert every single bit of the energy that you've got to bring about the utter disappearance. Get it out of here. The utter disappearance of the enormous and detestable wickedness so characteristic of our time now. The substitution of man for God. But even when this is done, it remains to restore to their ancient place of honor the most holy laws and counsels of the Gospels. And I'm glad to proclaim aloud the truths taught by the church and her teachings on the sanctity of marriage, on the education and discipline of youth, on the possession and use of property, the duties that men owe to those who rule the state, and lastly, to restore equilibrium between the different classes of society according to Christian precept and custom. Not satanic communist crap. So you sit there and you say, look all of this, what it all touches on. Because we can go after the evil. And that's why I said, if we go after this, remember guys, when I started to kind of change my tune on this, it was a day where I said, dude, I've had it. I'm done. I said, I'm done just always pointing out the darkness. It's all around us. We see it. We need to see the light. We need to amplify the light. We need to poke holes in that darkness and allow the light to shine through. We need to see. We need to feel the warmth again. Because it's dark and it's cold. It's disorienting. Like being in a room and you can't see anything. And you know that there's traps all over the place. You could fall and hurt yourself. Fall and die. We need that light. We need that warmth again. And I finally had enough, and I said, we're going to do this, man. We are going to rise up. We are going to talk about how do we lay this down? What's at the core of this? What do we need to do? What do we need to do? And that's what Davos is doing. That's what they're doing. They have blueprints for domination. We need our tools of dominion. And there's a difference. One's godly, one's just wickedly satanic. Again, a blueprint, guys. And the last thing. Let's see here. Yeah, the last thing. 'Cause I'm not going to go forever, but I got to get to this here. Talking about religious instruction. That religious instruction is at the core of this. And that's something we can do with our families, guys. That's something we can do in our homes. You know, do you talk to your kids about the Bible? Do you talk to them about God? Do you talk to them about liturgy? Do you talk to them about prayer? Do you pray with them? We had a conversation about that in our home. About how a lot of our activities throughout the day don't necessarily line up with what we know to be the best idea. You know, to make sure that you start your days with prayer with your family. To give the priestly blessing in the home. To begin and end your meals with prayer. Some of these are Catholic customs. To end your evening with prayer. To do novenas. To be better about times of fasting and prayer. To understand that our lives and even the tempo of our days have a kind of liturgical cycle. And we talked about it. We wrote it down. And part of that was catechism, religious instruction, to say, you know, we not just to say, well, we're relying just on the school for that. And the school obviously plays a role. It's why we do the show here. Every single penny that we make sends our kids to school. Every penny, 100%. Nothing else. I'm not using that money and going and buying random crap. It's sending our kids to an amazing school. But part of that amazing school is that they have an amazing school at home too. And that's also something that we have to put ourselves into. And that is a tool of dominion. It may be that the fruit of our labors may be slow in coming, but charity wearies not with waiting, knowing that God prepares his reward not for the results of toil, but for the goodwill shown in it. And I love this. This is one of those things. It's like God working in my own life. I look at it and I say, man, look at the way that God works in your life, and then say, how often has God just done something inside you over time through different experiences, and you eventually, you read something that's a big deal, and you're like, man, look at how God's already been prepping me for these things. He is the alpha in the back of the wolf pack. It says right here, it says that, but in order that the desired fruit may be derived from this apostolate, this work that we're going to do, and this zeal for teaching, and that Christ may be formed in all, be it remembered, venerable brethren, that no means is more efficacious than charity. For the Lord is not in the earthquake. It is vain to hope to attract souls to God by a bitter zeal. Man, son. Papa. On the contrary, harm is done more often than good by taunting men harshly with their faults and reproving their vices with asperity. True, the apostle exhorted Timothy, accuse, beseech, and rebuke, but he took care to add, with all patience. And Jesus certainly left us an example of this. Come to me, all ye that labor and are burdened, and I will refresh you. And by those that labor and are burdened, he meant only those who are slaves of sin and error. And the last part. And by the way, thank you guys, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you've allowed me to talk so long about this, because this is honestly so important. It's so important. It's more important than what Bill Barr is doing. By the way, Bill Barr, thanks a lot, you raging buttface. It's more important in the long run than what is happening in Michigan or various places in the lockdowns. It's more important than what Cartoon Network is putting out there for people, for little kids to draw them in through indoctrination into their crazy woke cult. Because we understand. We have a God's eye view of this. He's revealed it to us that when they do this sort of thing and they rise up trying to take the throne of the Lord, that they will be cast down. It says right here, oh, when in every city and village the law of the Lord is faithfully observed. Imagine. I want you to close your eyes. I just want you to think about it for real, because it's the last thing we're going to say. And then on to the comments. When every city and village the law of the Lord is faithfully observed, when respect is shown for sacred things, when the sacraments are frequented, and the ordinances of Christian life fulfilled, there will certainly be no more need for us to labor further to see all things restored in Christ. Nor is it for the attainment of eternal welfare alone that this will be of service. It will also contribute largely to temporal welfare and the advantage of human society. For when these conditions have been secured, the upper and wealthy classes will learn to be just and charitable to the lowly. And these will be able to bear with tranquility and patience the trials of a very hard lot. The citizens will obey not lust, but law. Reverence and love will be deemed a duty toward those that govern, whose power comes only from God. And then at last it will be clear to all that the church, such as it was instituted by God, must enjoy full and entire liberty and independence from all foreign dominion. And we, in demanding that same liberty, are defending not only the sacred rights of religion, but are also consulting the common weal of the safety of nations. For it continues to be true that piety is useful for all things. When this is strong and flourishing, the people will truly sit in the fullness of peace. I love this. I love it. And it's true. It's true and it's reliable. And you know what? It's readable and it's easily applicable. We are applicable. You are able to apply it to a vast array of circumstances and situations. All of them relevant. All of them real. And it's not just, again, like, you know, I know people that are like, yeah, but it only matters. It only matters about, you know, salvation. And I'm like, yes, in an ultimate sense, yes, but there's also the great mandate, the great mandate that has to do with things that are going on in the earth. And those things going on in the earth oftentimes are going to have massive ramifications on the way that people respond to the gospel. I like how this is a full enchilada approach to restoration. And what a great antithesis to the reset. God is good. God is good. Powerful. The wisdom of history and the democracy of the dead. And we're all the better for it. All right. Let's see here. Hold on. 12:30. Yeah, I go up here. Let's see. All right. Yeah, so some of these comments, and again, I appreciate it. I appreciate my family up there. They're going to need to just simply know that it's going to be ending here within the next couple minutes. It's over. And I'm grateful again. And remember, tomorrow I ain't going to be on the air. I'm not going to be on the air tomorrow. Not live anywhere. Not here. Okay, not doing this. I might do a couple live things during the event tomorrow. Well, no, because I gotta be there to set up. I'm gonna be there all day long. All day, deep into the night. All right. Let's see here. What does the owl mean to you? The owl, we'll talk about that more. It's the owl is the image that my daughter chose. And it's the image that the medieval festival chose for her Black Rock Medieval Festival, and we have a shield that has the owl on it and things like that. And you ask because you're Native American, and in my culture, the owl is symbolic of death. Did you know that? And is that why you chose that? No, but at the same time, I will say this: is that number one, my daughter, her name. She was given a name by the Gun Lake tribe. The elders came together. They gave her the name Anungukwe. If I'm pronouncing it properly, I'm hoping. We actually have a dress that was given to us by one of the tribe girls, and we're friends with one of the elders of the tribe. I don't know if they had a vote since the last time we talked, and I don't know if he was going to continue doing that, but he was serving at the time as an elder in the Gun Lake tribe. Very good friends with them, go to powwow, stuff like that. My daughter was given the bald eagle feather to be in fact buried with, because they said she was a warrior, and so they ended up giving that to her. It's a very special thing. We have very close with them. In fact, that was one of the Peter, James, and Johns. That's one of the Peter, James, and Johns that my daughter had. Okay, we talked about Emily. She's the one with the tattoo. And then, so we've got a whole bunch, but those we absolutely love. And maybe I'll show my tattoo sometime. Maybe I will show my tattoo sometime. We'll see. I've tried, but I don't like showing it you can't really see it. And so I'd have to get a picture or something like that. Okay. James, thank you, Jeremiah. I added playing Mr. Potato Head into my lexicon. You should trademark it. I'm not going to trademark that, dude. I'm not going to trademark that. Playing Mr. Potato Head with words and stuff like that. Oh, man. Yeah, so, let's see. James says, owls look cool. However, they have extremely sharp claws. They do, bro. They do. I got some flack one time. I said that I wanted to actually own an owl. And, dude, I had people really mad at me about that. I'm like, dude, son, are you serious? I didn't know. I didn't know. They're like, you can't own an owl, blah, 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 blah. Wow. They do look kind of thick and chubby sometimes. Owls? Yeah, man. Yeah, and they're heavy. Yeah. MMSU 31 says nothing worse than the World Economic Forum, a main globalist think tank. Totally true, 100%. I agree with you. It's obvious. And that's why we need to be against them, guys. We need to be against them. These globalist think tanks literally sound like James Bond villain organizations. Yeah. It's true, don't they? Don't they? You know, there's nothing new like the Bilderberg. And the UN would be Spectre. Yeah. Okay, UN is like the umbrella corporation from Resident Evil. When you guys, the Ziemo says, are you speaking to me? LOL. After Nick passed, I never felt so alone in the world, physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'm talking to everybody, but yeah, I'm definitely talking to you. Are you speaking to me? Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Let's see. I recognize Satan sees an opportunity, but it's hard to defend against him standing alone, abandoned by the liberal church. Well, you just got to know. You got to know. Yes, it is most definitely difficult. But we also have to pray for them, by the way. Oh, your name's Mark. Okay. Hey, I'm grateful. Okay. I wasn't sure if you were a dude or a chick. I wasn't entirely sure, man. So I'm really grateful. I'm grateful, Mark, that you showed up today and you talked to us. I'm grateful you talked to us. You know, and you say you so long for the warmth of his light. And that's why we've got to pray. That's why we have to immerse ourselves in the godly. It's why we have to create even within ourselves and let that emanate into all the aspects of our life, to create a Christian culture wherein we see these things and our kids see these things. And insofar as it touches on all the things that we deal with in our lives, including other people, places, and things, when we do this, we are renewing the world. We are being the workmanship of the Lord in this regard. And essentially, the warmth and the light from within us is in fact bringing people and ourselves even, but other people face to face with the Lord and saying, this is how this works. This is how you're spreading it about, right? In the batch. That's how we talk about the leaven in the batch. We talk about the mustard seed growing bigger and bigger and bigger. We talk about subjecting all things because he has all power and authority. And insofar as we do that, and insofar as that leaven is permeated into the whole through us, through our ideas, our thoughts, our words, and our actions, the things we do in this life, the things we leave, insofar as that has happened, the gospel and the principles of that kingdom have permeated the world. Joe McGrath says he just ordered the catechism. By the way, which catechism? I've got a bunch of them. I got the Catechism of Trent, the Baltimore. I got, in fact, multiple versions with the Baltimore. I got little ones like the St. Joseph Catechism and stuff. I want the Penny Catechism. I do not have that. And of course, the Catechism of Trent. I read the Catechism of Trent before I even became a member of the church. Before I left Protestantism for Catholicism. And it's funny. Somebody asked me really early on. I'm not going to go back. I don't really know. I don't really know about this. I don't want to scroll and be like, oh, is it here? Blah, blah, blah. But there was somebody that brought this up and said that they had in their video playlist on YouTube, they had a bunch of my videos about Catholicism and Protestantism and stuff like that. And they asked if I still make videos like that. The answer is no. I don't. It's more of one of those things where, you know, at the time, it made a lot of sense to me, in part because I had left Protestantism and became a Catholic, but also because we weren't necessarily in a world yet like we are now, where the savages are in the gates and they're coming after both of us. I mean, they're coming after me. They're coming out. If you have a cross around your neck, if you have a cross, even if it, crucifix, cross, it doesn't matter, man. You got that. The enemy, dude, they want you gone. And so if we got the enemy coming at us and we're both going after each other, and there's a place for it. Meaning of Catholic is one of those. I'm associated with Meaning of Catholic. You know, I'm supposedly a contributor over there. Supposedly. You can still see my name. He still has it listed. I'm supposedly a contributor. You know, but the thing is, that is a place that works for it. But when you talk about it, you know, over here, I'm looking at this big war over here, and I'm saying, look, man, I'm willing to side by side with this guy or this girl, and we got to rock that, because these crazy maniacs and their venomous fangs coming in at us, trying to eradicate everything that either of us might stand for. I'm more interested in that, man. We got it for now. And say, but not entirely. It's a both and. To say, yeah, man, like, okay, during the day, during the show, what we're doing here, we're fighting against the enemy, right? We're fighting against the enemy. And then we go and we say, we've got the nighttime. We're nursing our wounds a little bit. We're taking a beating. We're laughing and having a good time, eating some bacon and cheese, some eggs and some bread, some wine. We're having a good time. And then as we're doing that, we can debate around the fire whether or not transubstantiation's real. We can debate over the Immaculate Conception. We can debate over all these different topics, man. But at the end of the day, I want to be, clanking a glass of beer with that guy when we're doing this. Especially right now. Because ultimately, man, we need all the allies we can get right now. And that's why I said we actually have to begin having serious discussions about what is a good interfaith movement, what is a good ecumenical movement. Because unless we have, and I'm sure they're out there, it's really about familiarizing myself better with it. I'm not meaning to dog other people, like I've got the answers. But to say, when we're doing this and we're talking with other churches and other groups, one of the fears that so many people has is, number one, there should be no intermingling of the sacred with that, okay? There should not be that. At the same time, there's many things that people could do that it would not necessarily qualify as the participation in the sacred with each other in that way. And to say, how do you work with a group that may disagree with you theologically? How do you do it? Without sacrificing your values. Because so many people, by the way, so many people inside of these interfaith movements and stuff like that, they end up having a weird kind of progressive coexisty styled Christianity. And we don't want that. In fact, we cannot have that. That's one of the enemies, by the way. It's like a golden brick road to hell. So you say, okay, that's not good. That's not good. But how do we figure this out? What can we do? And that's why I want you guys to be part of the conversation. Okay? Had to yell up at the kids. Because we got to get out of here. They're obviously not paying good attention. They're not paying good attention. And okay. MMSU said, I asked you about whether you're still making apologetics against Protestantism since I was being recommended with your decade-old videos by the YouTube algorithm. Yeah, they are. They're old, and they're not very well produced. It was early on, man. It was early on in YouTube, dude. And there weren't any, it was kind of a cool time. It was a Wild West, man, because there were no other people. I don't really remember many other Catholic people that were making videos like that at all. There weren't like colleges yet on there. There weren't major time theologians and public speakers. They were all just kind of the regular Johnny Q, Sally Sue folks that were really at the forefront of this and really helped to build YouTube. And back then, you could have a number one trending video like I had in different categories and maybe only have 2,000 views. And it's like, dude, you're number one in this category today. And you're like, dang, I've got like a mega church. I got 2,000 people tuned in. And it wasn't laid out the same. So at the time, like a lot of people would watch it and they'd watch it. That was it. I mean, they wouldn't like go and then just scramble to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. So, I mean, it was really saturating that market. And I had a lot of videos like that. And people can see those videos if they want. They can see those videos. There's a playlist for them available on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Paleocrat. Yeah, hold on. All right, before we go, I'm going to go ahead and play this commercial one more time. And when we come back, I'm hoping that my kids will be down here. So here we go. Here's the commercial for the video for the event tomorrow. It's been really great hanging with you guys. And we'll be back in 2 minutes, and we're done with the show. Whew. Oh my gosh. What is wrong with you guys?
Someone at school told us the Grinch stole Christmas.
Who told you that?
Ken and Karen.
Ken and Karen? Why are you guys even listening to them? Look, listen. The Grinch cannot steal Christmas.
What? But the Gretch won't even let us go to restaurants.
That is totally tyrannical, but
The big Gretch won't let us play sports or nothing.
that is wicked heinous, except that...
The Gretch won't let us go to the roller rink.
Ugh.
What are we going to do for Christmas?
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Join us at the Lansing Capitol on December 23rd for the Michigan Patriot Council's Christmas Extravaganza. There'll be caroling, music, an award ceremony, even a live nativity scene. And we'll be gathering donations for veterans and those less fortunate this holiday season. The family-friendly fun begins at 4 p.m., topped off with a patriotic parade from 6 to 7. So tell your friends and family, your classmates and coworkers, that when the Gretch stole Christmas, it was the people who took it back. Merry Christmas.
Will Santa be there?
Santa? Of course Santa's gonna be there. In fact, I've heard a rumor that there's gonna be some super hot, very fancy elves.
Yay!
Oh my gosh, dude. Ah. See, I told you the Gretch couldn't steal Christmas. Not from baby Jesus.
The Christmas Extravaganza is brought to you by Michigan Patriot Hub, American Patriot Council, Stand Up Michigan, Republican Women's Federation of Michigan, Paleocrat Diaries, and Michigan citizens just like you. All right. I don't know if you heard that. Yay! Oh, hold on. We got to get him up here. Got to get him up here. Ah! My little dude, the little dancer. Ah, grateful for him. Grateful for Athanasius. Grateful for Teresa. Oh, I love this show. I love you guys. And I hope to see you tomorrow at the Christmas Extravaganza. Until then, make sure to go to paleocratdiaries.com for interviews, speeches, and all other inquiries. You can contact, of course, paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. Make sure to check out Paleo Cheese Podcast. That's my podcast with award-winning author Chad Lutsky. I just shared on Facebook yesterday. I shared one of the videos, I think 5 videos ago. I'll be doing it every other day. So not today, but I'll share another one tomorrow and another one on Friday and then back again in the lead up to our live edition. We're going live from now on, guys. And we're going to be doing live shows at the new year as we look back and look forward on 2020 and looking forward to 2021. Make sure to go to Meaning of Catholic with Tim Flanders. We definitely love him. And until next time, remember, as we always say, never give up. Keep on smiling. And memento mori. If I don't talk into microphones, I don't make that mad cash. Making all that money. Making that mad loot, right?
Mind control.
So we see the minority elite imposing their ideology on an unwilling and resentful populace. This causes a backlash. People get ticked off. The left is working long and hard to make us feel as if we've done something wrong. Worse yet, that we are the problem. Don't let people just rip on your heritage. Don't let people just rip on your traditions. Don't let people rip on your heroes. Stand up for what you believe, what made you who you are. So unless this disenfranchised majority begins standing up for what they believe in their heart of hearts to be true, I think we'd be left with nothing more than a dirge, and maybe a funeral procession.